both clubs have gone a totally different way in the table.
Yeah, and that's what happens, obviously, with good decisions and bad decisions. And look, I mean, today we're just being told that obviously the Tottenham fans are going to be out there in the thousands welcoming the team coach again. I mean, that's great when it's a cup final or it's a time where you can win something, but when you're actually, to be fair, trying to avoid relegation, I know Everton did it a few years ago, didn't they? And it really helped them and it galvanised them, but I'm not sure that's where this club is right now. I don't feel that's going to sort of settle the players down. But look, these players that are out there, they've played a lot of games in front of big crowds. They obviously have been at big clubs before, they've played in big atmospheres, and today they're going to have to show up like never before for these Tottenham fans, and they owe them one.
The club captain, Christian Romero, was in Argentina, and now we're hearing he is going to be here today. Is that just another thing they could do without? Because he's not playing today.
Look, I don't suspect that Christian Romero has gone back to Argentina without permission of the club. Because I think if he had, then we'd know about it. We'd know that he'd gone rogue. So someone at this club thought it was a good idea to let him go back. Again, they've got to try and treat it as another game. I think when players are preparing for football, they've got to try and treat it as another game. I think when players are preparing for football matches, the last thing you want to do is do anything different. What you do is you try and get into a routine of doing the same things, of getting, De Zerbi's been in only for 4 or 5 weeks. I can't believe that this week he's ripped everything up that he's been doing in the last 4 or 5 weeks and said, we're going to do something different today. They've been training, obviously, in the hot conditions in the last couple of days because it has been warm. I think Spurs will just get over the line, but it'll be a scare. I think it's been the scare of their lives. For this football club to be in a position where it could go down today, yeah, I mean, it's unforgivable, really, in terms of just across the board, right the way through from the top to the bottom.
This club's been in Europe 18 years out of 20, Champions League finals, Europa League last year. Are they staying up?
I think they will just.
That's tense, isn't it?
Then you can go out and have a relax and have a drink tonight, can't you, and chill out?
Absolutely not. Good luck to you.
Celebrate with those Arsenal fans.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm going straight home. Gary Neville there, ahead of what's going to be a massive, massive game today. Tottenham Hotspur against Everton.
Thank you very much. That is, of course, half the relegation story. The other half is going to play out at the London Stadium, where Paul Gilmore is there for us.
Gail, thank you. Can David Moyes do his former club a massive favour? But of course West Ham will need to win as well against Leeds United. Delighted to say I'm joined by Jamie Carragher for this one at the London Stadium. Jamie, can you quite believe that we're in this situation, final day, and the two clubs involved, West Ham United and Tottenham Hotspur?
No, you didn't think it would happen the way that the Premier League, the big monster it's become, if you like, certainly in terms of the revenue involved, and you think of the size of Tottenham. I mean, I think if Tottenham go down, that will be the biggest relegation, I would think, in history, certainly in our country. I know Tottenham went down in the 70s, Manchester United did, but I don't think the gap between the top and the bottom has ever been so huge in terms of finances, and it almost feels like those clubs can't fail and shouldn't fail, really. West Ham, on the other hand, have been down. It's not a massive shock. West Ham now and again do go down from the Premier League. I think it's about 14 years ago. But I think the big frustration with the supporters in this stadium, if it is to be the case, because you have to say, West Ham are the favourites to go down here today. They were promised Champions League football and regular European football. And they had that for a time. Obviously, success with David Moyes. But what they've been given here, I think that's why there's such a negative feeling around the ownership of the club, because they left their beloved Upton Park to come here, another stadium that they love. I don't think many of us do, looking where the commentary position is. But it feels like they've been spun a tale.
How ironic is it that they are relying on a favour from David Moyes, the man who won a European trophy for them?
Well, David Moyes might have a statue outside this stadium if he can produce the goods at Tottenham today and West Ham do their job. Listen, you think of the great managers at West Ham, he's certainly one of them, winning that European trophy. And probably some supporters even coming here today, if it doesn't go well, or even if it does go well, Ford might be thinking, you know what, we pushed that guy out too quickly, or did the board, whoever was involved in it. Regular top half finishes in European football, great trips for supporters. They'd bite your hand off for that now.
You mentioned your thoughts on the impact of a Tottenham relegation. Would that be the equivalent of say, Leicester winning the league at the other end of the table?
Yeah, I mean, someone would probably tell me that Leicester's were a greater odds, 5,000 to 1. Maybe, I don't know if Spurs were greater than that. I mean, we should remember Spurs finished 17th last season, but You know, a club of that size just shouldn't be in this position, shouldn't have been in that position last season. They have had injuries, and I understand that Tottenham supporters will say, look at the players that we've had out, and if they weren't injured, and not just injured, I mean out for the season type of injuries, Kulusevski, Maddison, to name just two, they wouldn't be in this position. But again, that goes back to the size of these football clubs, the squads that they have. The players that Tottenham have still got and have played on a regular basis still shouldn't be in this position.
Who goes down as of 6 o'clock today?
I think it'll be West Ham. I think West Ham will win today. I just can't see Everton winning.
A goal difference against West Ham. During the warm-up, Roberto would have been singing his name as Pep Guardiola takes charge of his final game as manager of Manchester City.
And Villa have given him a little present as well. Looks like some kind of trophy that Unai Emery has just passed on to him in a big hug as well. He gives another thumbs up to the Villa bench, and he goes to take his seat on the City bench. And now he walks out into the technical area, does Pep Guardiola, to wave goodbye to all four stands at the Etihad. And I'm sure there will be a speech a little bit later, and they are all on their feet there as they say thank you and goodbye. West Ham Leeds is on Sports Extra. Palace Arsenal on Sports Extra too, if you want to listen to that. Wherever the story is this afternoon, we will go there. Our base is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. One of Spurs or West Ham is going down in the next 2 hours. There for us, Paul Robinson and Ian Dennis.
Tati Castellanos, Pablo and Kyle Walker-Peters are all back in the first 11 for West Ham United. Hermanson is the goalkeeper, Walker-Peters, Mavropanos, Disasi and Juve the back four, Souček and Fernandez, with Bowen, Pablo, Somerville and Castellanos, those further forward. And for Leeds, who have had a brilliant season, first up from the Championship, no relegation concerns for Leeds United. Pascal Struijk and Jayden Bogle, both doubts before the game, are both included. Darlow is the goalkeeper, the now familiar back five. Rodon, Biol and Struijk are the three centre-backs. Bogle and Justin the wing-backs. Ampadu, Tanaka, and then Mecha, Calvert-Lewin and Aronson further forward. West Ham's form at the London Stadium has not been too bad. That defeat here against Arsenal last time out, or that last-minute defeat, so costly in the end, it might be that way, and such was the controversy of that winner for Arsenal that it could have been oh so different, but that'll be for another day. It'll be all about the 3 points to potentially keep West Ham in the Premier League. And Matt, the feeling around the place is still hope. There is still that possibility, and while there is still hope, the atmosphere will still be good.
Absolutely, yeah, there's a lot of nerves in there as well, but there is hope, and that's the thing. You look at this team, they have to go out and perform, they have to get the result. If they can get an early goal, then the atmosphere is just going to be incredible. It is still here, I don't know if you can hear it, but they are belting out "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles" here. Their fans desperate for something today. A miracle is maybe needed, and they're looking to David Moyes to try and help them in that side of it.
We are underway in the London Stadium sunshine as "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles" echoes around this stunning London Stadium. I know it's often been the centre of so many of West Ham's problems when it comes to the atmosphere and all the rest of it, but the atmosphere is terrific. And it is Leeds United getting us underway. They're in their change strip this afternoon. The blue and yellow shirts, blue shorts and blue socks. And West Ham in their traditional claret and blue with the white shorts and the white socks. There was real feeling and real meaning behind that rendition of "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." And we shall see what the West Ham 11 can produce this afternoon. Ball loose in the centre of midfield. Calvert-Lewin in the red boots gets his first touch of the game. Bogle feeds it hopefully down the inside right channel. There's an opportunity very early on for Brendan Aronson, who went down on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. No foul, but real concerns for West Ham that there was so much space for Aronson there, and had his first touch been a little surer, he was through on goal.
Yeah, it was straight in. There was one ball just straight down the middle. I think Mavropanos goes out, leaves his man, and he's in. He has a touch forward. he could even, Hermansen was coming out as well, he could have lifted it over it, but it's a definite foul on the edge of the box from Souček as well, and I can't believe the refs just let that one play.
Yeah, Anthony Taylor is this afternoon's referee, and he decided there was not enough in there for a Leeds United free kick that would have been on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. West Ham moving forward in the sunshine for the first time this afternoon. Pablo's on that far side. West Ham going from left to right. So that's away from the Bobby Moore stand and towards the Sir Trevor Brooking stand. And the noise is certainly healthy in the opening minute. 2 minutes on 5 Sports Extra. Still 0-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That game is over on BBC Radio 5 Live. But 5 Live will very much go with the story this afternoon. Leeds have a free kick on the right-hand side, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Bogle has won it, and it's an opportunity for Leeds' big players to roam forward. And if there has been, well, there have been many issues for West Ham this season, Matt, but defending from set pieces probably right up there.
Yeah, it really is. And you look at it as well, they've got some big boys in there as well, Mavropanos, Diasasi, Souček, but it's about staying with runners, and Leeds have started this game very positively.
And they have a free kick on the right, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Ao Tanaka is over this, swings it in with his right foot deep towards the back post. Rodon was attacking it and he didn't get there. West Ham deal with that effectively enough, and it drops out of play for a throw on this near side, the left, that Ethan Ampadu will trot across to take, and this will be a long throw delivered into the heart of the West Ham penalty area. The Leeds United fans in the Sir Trevor Brooking stand to our right have come down in great numbers, all in their replica white shirts. In comes the Ampadu throw. It goes a long way into the penalty area, nearly dropped on the edge for James Justin, and now referee Anthony Taylor has seen a free kick in the midst of all of that. So West Ham will have this free kick inside their own penalty area. We've played 3 minutes and it's 0-0.
Yeah, automatically looking at the start of this game, Leeds have come here to really give it a go. They're not one that they're going to come here and just roll over. They will be putting everything into this as they have done for the past 2-3 months of this season.
Calvert-Lewin looks suspiciously offside, but referee allowed the play to continue. You're always unsure with that situation. You're looking at the assistant referee waiting for him to put his flag up, and in the end there was no need because the ball forward was a little loose, and in fact there may well have been a free kick in there as well. So West Ham do have this free kick right hand side of the centre circle, and that does, I guess, Matt, make this dynamic a little interesting, that West Ham have everything to play for. Leeds have nothing really to play for other than to reach 50 points, which will be a nice marker in their first season back up. But that can be a worry when the team enjoying themselves in the sunshine have very little to play for.
Yeah, it is. I've sort of been in this situation before myself, and it's really difficult when you're the team that has to go and win the game. So you're maybe just giving yourselves a little bit too much to do, or you're overdoing the pass because you have to. Whereas the other team, like here, Leeds, they've got nothing to lose really. They're going to go out there in great form. They're enjoying themselves. So for them it's about just enjoyment factor, and they're in good form, so it's just going out and continuing the form that they've been in.
Leeds have it in their back line. Goalkeeper Carl Darlow, who's all in bright orange this afternoon, delivers downfield. Leeds are in excellent form, unbeaten in their last 7 Premier League away games. They've won 4 of their last 6, having won 2 of the previous 14, but lots of draws in that as well. Their switch to a back 5 at the start of December really propelling them away from danger. They've not really looked back, and they've had an excellent season, as have Sunderland, 2 of the 3 promoted sides from the Championship. Burnley will be going down. Deflected cross from Justin on this near side, the left, that Hermansen juggles but gathers at the second time of asking, and releases Diouf and Somerville, the former Leeds player. Nice footwork from him. He's away from his man. Pablo's on the left of the penalty area. Just has to slow down to allow Somerville to rejoin on the left-hand side of the penalty area. The former Leeds man, bright fluorescent boots, ball into the penalty area, over the head of Tati Castellanos, and that's out of play for a Leeds goal kick, but the first real sign of West Ham going forward.
But it's always going to be this man, as Somerville. He picks it up in a great area, and he's just got that touch and shift of pace where he can just burst away from someone, and that's what West Ham need. They need to get him in the game. He's been everything creative for them since he's been back fit, and these moments in games where he's on a high, you need to give him the ball. But you can hear a little bit of a jibe from the Leeds fans when he gets the ball as well, just letting him know that they probably made the wrong decision.
Yeah, there's no love lost there between Somerville and the Leeds United supporters. 89 appearances for Leeds, 25 goals and 12 assists in that time. 4 years he spent at Ellen Road. Calvert-Lewin on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Ball into the right is delivered over everyone, just into the back post. Chance for Leeds, driven across goal and turned wide. Well, that was half an opportunity on the edge of the 6-yard box for Leeds United, just in driving the ball across. And in the end, a shot wide from Lucas Metcher, who was well positioned, and that was half a chance for Leeds.
He should score. He should score. They've done it really well on the right-hand side. It's all come to the far side, which it was a scuffed shot across, but he's just mistimed it. He's tried to get it on his left foot to just put it into the goal, and it's come off his shin and gone out for a goal kick, but a really good opportunity. I did say Leeds are looking, they just look so relaxed and confident when they go forward, and they've got pace and power.
Lucas Metcher up front there with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so a couple of lively players for the West Ham back line to look after. First goal of the final day has gone in at Turf Moor in the battle of the two relegated clubs. Burnley 0, Wolves 1. Adam Armstrong has scored a penalty after 5 minutes at Turf Moor. Jared Bowen for the first time this afternoon, striding over halfway near side the West Ham right, not fouled by Strike. It was an aggressive challenge. Bowen gingerly getting up, but no free kick, says Anthony Taylor. And Bogle and Rodon can exchange passes deep inside the Leeds United half in glorious sunshine. The curved architecture here at the London Stadium, so we have around 7/8 of the pitch in shade, but we can see the curved shadow on this near side as Leeds attack from right to left, and they have done the majority of the attacking in the early stages of this game on 5 Sports Extra. 8 minutes in, West Ham 0, Leeds 0. Free kick to West Ham, no, goal kick. Bogle couldn't keep the ball in play on that far side. So West Ham goal kick, West Ham 0, Leeds 0, and still Tottenham 0, Everton 0. So that scenario would see Tottenham survive and West Ham go down.
Yeah, this heat, I think, is really going to play a part, because you can't go chasing everything. It's going to really take it out of you. But the West Ham fans are trying everything to get the players to give that extra bit of something to get a goal, to give them something to cheer at.
You can certainly feel it in the atmosphere many times here, and Matt, you'll know better than most. When you come to games, even at the start of matches, it can seem quite flat. Listen, everything that has been said about the atmosphere has already been said. We know that the distance you are from the pitch doesn't help, but there is real life this afternoon. The West Ham fans are right behind their side.
Well, they have to be. They have to be, because this is it. You know, there's no other scenario. They have to win the game, and that's, you know, by hook or by crook. They have to get the 3 points today, and just hope that the result goes their way. But it's not even about the performance today. It's just about getting the result. But they want to see, you know, desire and pride to wear the badge, and that's what every single fan, whatever club they are in.
Leeds looking dangerous again. Tanaka on the edge of the box, left-hand side. His early cross-in evaded everyone, got a West Ham touch, saw it out of danger. Now there's an opportunity. Castellanos is challenged by Biol. That was an aggressive challenge as well. Referee saw it, gives the free kick, and the first yellow card of the game given to the Slovenian centre-back Jaka Biol for an aggressive challenge on Tati Castellanos inside the centre circle.
Yeah, it was just a loose pass, and Tati's read it really well, and he's just nipped in, just dinked it over the foot, and it was definite yellow card. He's just done really well, just lifted it over him and got caught.
There was a slight touch on the ball, but more often than not, referees will give that as a free kick. They don't tend to like the aggressive nature when you go to ground, and Anthony Taylor was sure it was a free kick, and also the first yellow card of the game brandished to Jaka Biol. What can West Ham do from this free kick? They've taken it quickly and short. Mateus Fernandes was running dangerously in field until he was dispossessed. Pablo then had a go. Bogle now runs over halfway with the Leeds blue shirts. He gives it away. Fernandes, who has been one of the bright sparks for West Ham United this season, he goes from sunshine to shade, from the central third to the right-hand side. Walker-Peters wanted to go forward, but found his avenue forward a little bit congested, so it's back on that left-hand side, and Juve, but this is going backwards, and you can just really feel, Matt, for the first time, the West Ham fans not too happy with the decision to go backwards rather than forwards.
Yeah, it's hard though for the players. They need to they need to have numbers when they're going forward and doing that, and then obviously as soon as they make that one pass and you can hear the groans, it does have an impact.
Mavropanos, that's a fine ball. Juve unmarked, left-hand side of the box, pulls it across goal. Rodon's in the way of that. That was better and more encouraging, made courtesy of a fine switch of play from Konstantinos Mavropanos.
Yeah, it was Juve as well on that left-hand side. He loves getting forward, and he's never going to turn down an opportunity to cross. He just likes to get the ball out of his feet and whip it in. He's got great quality as well. That one just unfortunately just didn't make the mark.
Jared Bowen, I wonder if he has a point to prove, given he was not included in Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad. West Ham win a free kick. Castellanos cutting across his man, in this case Tanaka, 6 or 7 yards outside the penalty area, and now West Ham have a dangerous free kick 7 or 8 yards outside the box.
Yeah, he does that really well, Tati. He's just getting himself into areas and just nicking things. He's sharp in and around the edge of that box and just takes a little nick, and now it's in an area where I'm not sure whether it's shooting distance. I mean, Bowen's over it, looking like he might want to have a go at this, but they have really good height in the box. You know, Mavropanos, Souček, at Diasasi in that far post area, and they've got previous. You know, Mavropanos has got some really good goals scored from set pieces like this.
Yeah, he's certainly found his goal-scoring rhythm recently, Mavropanos. Jared Bowen and Mateus Fernandes are both over this free kick. It'll be the in-swinger from Bowen, and that's what it will be as Fernandes retreats, dink towards the back post. Keeper comes a long way and got nowhere near it. He was aided by a defensive header just in front of his errant dive. Juve picks it up just outside the penalty area, far side the left, the give and go with Somerville. Juve delivers, takes a deflection, West Ham United corner, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's better. It's exactly what the West Ham fans needed and wanted. You know, they were just starting to get a little bit tense and showing their frustration not going forward, but as soon as they can get the ball inside the box, and especially Diouf on that left-hand side really puts a good delivery in, and now it's another set piece from Somerville,
who takes up a position on that far side, the West Ham United left. He runs across to drink from a water bottle on what is a sweltering afternoon in East London. I'm amazed to report that Jared Bowen is wearing the Under Armour. Now that must be a superstition, because he must
Sunburn.
be, but well, possibly that too, yeah. Here comes the corner from Somerville, right-footed front post, headed away quite comfortably by Justin, who is the guardian of the front post. Corner taker Somerville picks it back up on the angle of the penalty area. Juve delivers another deep one to the back post. There's only Leeds players there, 3 of them in fact to head away. Rodon will scamper to this near side, can't keep it in play. Castellanos right back into the penalty area, although that's too deep for everyone. Somerville challenges Justin, wins the ball. Far side the West Ham left, level with the edge of the Leeds box. In comes the deflected cross. Bogle will clear that. West Ham fans wanting handball, but there were no real appeals from anyone in claret, and West Ham are enjoying a good spell here. 0-0 with Leeds in a game they need to win. Somerville into Bowen on the left. He digs a cross out. Mavropanos is there. He left it. I think got the call behind him. It didn't reach that far. Walker-Peters 40 yards out. Several optimistic West Ham fans wanting him to shoot. He sensibly rejects that decision. Castellanos' cross. That's in front of Tanaka, who wins that particular skirmish. Calvert-Lewin then is dispossessed. Pablo wins it back. Somerville on the edge of the penalty area. Bowen, is there a final end product to this decent West Ham spell? Bowen going the long way around Rodon. Low ball in, loose, right foot shot from Pablo is deflected over the bar. And the look on his face tells you that may have been heading in. This is good West Ham pressure, and now they have another corner. No, they don't. It must have taken a nick off a West Ham player last, so it's a Leeds goal kick.
Oh, it's really good play. They've kept possession. They've gone from the right to the left. I think they're trying to say that it was actually come off the Souček at the end, but I'm not too sure about that. But again, it's no surprise the players that are involved. It's Somerville, it's Bowen, and it's Diouf. They're the players that West Ham need to be in possession and on the ball, because they're the ones that can make things happen.
He was certainly missed, Crescencio Somerville, when he had that spell out of the team with injury, but he has started brightly Not only the motivation of winning to keep West Ham in the league potentially, but against his old club as well. It's Leeds who have it in their back line. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, also available on the BBC Sounds app on this dramatic final day of the Premier League season. Over on 5 Live, Tottenham 0, Everton 0, and with this scoreline as is, that will be enough for Spurs and will send West Ham down and end their 14-year stay in the Premier League. 14 years where they have had plenty of top 10 finishes in that time. They've won a major European trophy in the Conference League too under David Moyes. It'll be David Moyes that has a big part to play, managing Everton against Tottenham if West Ham are to survive. Leeds, meanwhile, have a free kick that is just inside the West Ham half, right of the centre circle. As far as they're concerned, they'll want to just keep the ball for a couple of moments because West Ham had been building very nicely. Rodon also wearing the fluorescent yellow boots matching Somerville. His hopeful ball down the right is turned into a good ball as well. Bogle wanted the free kick, berates the assistant referee because he instead gives the goal kick rather than the free kick, and West Ham have another chance to start again from the back. 0-0, 17 minutes in.
Yeah, it was quite a good run there from Bogle, really. He's come short to go long, and Diouf didn't go with him. He's just run out. Diouf using that pace that he has to get back in and just use his strength to see the ball out.
The voice of former England international Matt Jarvis with us on 5 Sports Extra. 4 years at West Ham, joining from Wolves, so it's not a great double for you, is it? This
Not at all. No, not at all. It's I need the results to go well today.
Yeah, you've already lost one of your former clubs. In fact, the 2 clubs you spent the most time at during your career, presumably?
Yes, that's right, yeah. Let's hope we'll be talking a bit more positive about both clubs. Yeah, it's been a bit of a disaster season for Wolves especially.
Well, they might be ending it on somewhat of a high note. They still lead at Turf Moor against fellow Championship team next season, Burnley 0, Wolves 1. No other goals elsewhere. So importantly, as far as West Ham concerned at Tottenham, still European places to be sorted as well, with Bournemouth going for a Champions League place. If Villa do end up losing at Manchester City and finish 5th, and Bournemouth finish 6th, whoever finishes 6th, courtesy of a 5th place Aston Villa finish, will be playing in the Champions League next season. Sunderland and Chelsea also going for Europa Conference League football. So even though the title was wrapped up in the week and Wolves and Burnley already down, there are still things to sort. Most importantly, the final relegation spot and also those European places. West Ham have a throw in their right back position. Disasi wins it from Calvert-Lewin, throws it across to Walker-Peters, and West Ham can build slowly from the back. Fulham are in front against Newcastle United, so a goal in London, but not the goal that West Ham fans will want. Issa Diop has scored. Fulham 1, Newcastle United 0. Leeds coming forward, right-hand side of the penalty area. Excellent defending by Mateus Fernandes, who was then clipped on his way out of the penalty area. Pablo then goes to ground and wins a free kick, but referee Anthony Taylor will just prevent West Ham taking it quickly because Fernandes is on the floor, although not for long, and he slowly gets to his feet. He has been, in what has clearly been a dismal West Ham season, one of the bright sparks.
He really has. He's come in as quite a big signing. I think the first couple of weeks is maybe just finding his feet, but he's been excellent in this West Ham team that has struggled. But you just see, just from that clip that we've just watched on the monitor, it's the desire to get back to defend, to then win the ball, and he then plays forward. It's been really key to this West Ham team in that middle of the pitch.
Somerville has a little bit of space in which to operate just inside the Leeds United half. Back into West Ham territory it goes. Mavropanos, Disasi, and now Diouf far side the left, couple of yards in from the touchline. He sets off in field, finds Souček. No real pace to this West Ham attack, which is slowly now coming across to this right-hand side. Disasi and Mavropanos again. Walker-Peters doesn't want the pass, has his 2 arms outstretched, although gets it now. Is put under pressure, a little bit of pressure by Mecha. and West Ham can move it from right to left to ensure they keep hold of the ball. West Ham 0, Leeds United 0. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC, and that was a little bit wasteful for Mavropanos. Clips it straight over the head of Juve, had no chance of keeping that in, and Leeds have this rather soft throw on the halfway line.
Yeah, that's the thing that the fans don't want to see. You know, a pass that's just been wasted and kicked out of play. You know, it's slow. It's trying to get something going, but there wasn't really any movement forward. The players have just got to try and get this spark going, because the crowd will follow.
Leeds, from the throw, have Tanaka in an advanced position. Bogle loops it into the penalty area, and Mecha was lurking dangerously, but couldn't really find a position inside the penalty area to put Hermansen under pressure, and it was a fairly comfortable catch for the West Ham goalkeeper, who is all in fluorescent yellow this afternoon. Drops the ball at his feet, wants to go short, but has no real option, so goes long and wastefully long. And again, the dissatisfaction from the West Ham fans, who see that as a rather needless relinquishing of possession, and that was exactly what happened there with Darlow inside the Leeds goal. He was very lucky to get away with a miss hit that went straight through the heart of the Leeds defence, but no one in West Ham claret to take advantage, although they might do now, as a right foot shot from range is hit really well by Fernandez. He caught that beautifully. Darlow makes a decent save. Pablo wins it back for West Ham. Left-hand edge of the penalty area. Several Leeds players go across to meet Somerville, who tries to trick his way beyond 2 of them. And Aronson and Bogle deal with that carefully enough, and Disasi has it all the way back inside the West Ham half. Well, that was very nearly the opener. Fernandez hit that well. You would say, Matt, a little too well, maybe, because it was so well hit that Darlow didn't have to move. West Ham looking good now. Here's Castellanos inside the Leeds penalty area. Strike gets back to him, and Darlow, with no real pressure, picks that up. Fernandez, that was really well hit. We're seeing a replay of it now. It goes past Biol and beaten away by Darlow.
Yeah, I think he just thought, right, I'm not going to take a chance here. This was just after he's had a little bit of he's tried to dink the ball over, I think it was Tati, and it's actually clipped his left foot, and that's what's given him away. So I don't think he was taking any chances with the save.
Calvert-Lewin, little dummy. Aronson now has plenty of space, 30 yards out, centrally positioned. Aronson goes for goal. That's blocked at source. Aronson retreats, wins back the blocked shot, and will go sensibly back into his own half, where Yaka Biol waits. West Ham 0, Leeds 0. We've reached the midway point of the first half. West Ham still craving this goal that would just send the nerves through the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Remember, the only realistic scenario that would keep West Ham in the Premier League: victory over Leeds and Tottenham losing at home to Everton. Antoine Semenyo has scored for Manchester City at home to Aston Villa. So Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0 in Pep Guardiola's final game as Manchester City manager. Here at the London Stadium, Leeds have fashioned a corner that they're in no great rush to take. There are several, and rather wisely, water bottles scattered on the periphery of the London Stadium pitch. So corner taker, set piece taker, throw-in taker, very much taking the opportunity to refuel at every given opportunity. Corner towards Calvert-Lewin, looked dangerous, headed up rather than out, still loose inside the West Ham box until Hermansen with a commanding catch to move West Ham forward. And Juve, the ever-willing runner, is the recipient of the throw. He is then fouled and will win West Ham this free kick, and there is a yellow card coming out for, is that Aronson on that far side? Can't quite make, I think it is Brendan Aronson, who just checked Juve's progress, and this is a decent free kick for West Ham to win. So Aronson into the book, West Ham free kick, but not before, Matt, one of several water breaks, because we are comfortably over the recommended temperature for water breaks. So everyone coming across to this near side to take on a drink in these baking temperatures.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier about this. The temperature is going to play a massive factor, because the West Ham faithful here are desperate for the energy and sprint here, close them down here, pressure in there, and ultimately at this point the temperature, players can't do it. They can't do it every single time. They have to pick their battles. They have to go, right, we're all going to go on this one, or we wait. And I think the same the thing with Leeds is they've been able to soak up quite a bit of pressure at the moment. West Ham have been on top, but they have a player in Calvert-Lewin that if they do just need to hook it on, he's onto it, and he's been able to hold it. It's been a good battle between him and Diasasi and Mavropanos, because he can hold the ball up. He does have a good touch, and he's in great form. So he's really confident in maybe having a little bit of a one-on-one and a little race in behind to get onto it, which is something that West Ham are really going to have to keep an eye on.
Cameras are trained on Sir Trevor Brooking, who had a part to play in one of West Ham's fairly recent-ish relegations at the start of the millennium. He is a legend in these parts, and he's watching on with a concerned expression on his face. Everyone on the pitch with a water bottle in hand, including the referee, the assistant referee, and the fourth official as well. I'm sure there would have been some form of tactical instruction passed on from Nuno to West Ham and Daniel Farke to his Leeds players. Sunderland have taken the lead at the Stadium of Light against Chelsea. Sunderland 1, Chelsea 0. Now that is significant in the minor European places, because that puts Sunderland into 8th, which would be good enough for Europa Conference League football next season. And, well, that would be some way to mark Sunderland's season back in the Premier League, wouldn't it?
Fantastic. What an incredible job they've done. Really have. They took a chance when spent loads of money in the summer, and they've got it right, and they've been outstanding this season. And it's been great to watch, to be honest. A team that's come up and really given it a go, and they've moulded together, and the players have got more and more confident all season.
Yeah, and at the moment they are crowning that excellent season with Europa Conference League football, but other results might change that, or other related scores as they change throughout the afternoon. This West Ham free kick deep, Mavropanos on the edge of the box, loops it back into a dangerous area. That's headed away. It'll be picked up by Walker-Peters, 35 yards out. West Ham still have an opportunity to keep this attack going, although that's rather ended with Mavropanos' loopy ball back into the West Ham half, and only Diouf in the outfield role inside the West Ham half. Now they move it forward on this near side, the right. Pablo goes down under Justin's push and wins a free kick. He's been quite lenient, Anthony Taylor, but we could clearly see the two hands in the back of Pablo, and hence the free kick for West Ham.
Yeah, he has. There's spells where you can tell where the players are looking to get a foul, and they feel the contact and they just fall to the floor, which is actually what Pablo did there. But again, set pieces for this West Ham team. Fernandez lining it up, and they have been dangerous.
Left arm in the air, Leeds holding a high line just outside their own box. In comes the direct free kick, headed rather strangely back into his own box by Ampadu, but no harm done. And in fact, Leeds now can set up on the counter-attack. Aronson is the only Leeds player in the West Ham half, and as such, he had to do it all his own way. Somerville tracked him all the way, and the West Ham fans appreciate that work, because that would have taken a lot out of Crescencio Somerville, but it's that sort of defensive action that the fans also love to see.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else was getting back. Somerville used his incredible pace there to get back and really do well. I don't think any other player was going to catch him.
Diouf then with a really wasteful ball into the Leeds box that was comfortably claimed by Darlow, and now Metcher is into the West Ham box on this near side, the left, slows it down, allows Justin to support. Justin is closed down by Bowen. All the way back it comes, Ampadu, Tanaka, and now Struijk as Leeds keep very sensible possession inside the West Ham box. Justin is level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area. Ampadu now, the Welsh international, striding in field, moving from left to right, moving from shade to sunshine. Struijk, Biol, and now Tanaka. And you can understand why Leeds are doing this, because I'm sure the defensive work that they've had to get through has been very taxing in the sunshine. So what do they say, Matt? They often say that it's the work off the ball that tires you out more than the work on it.
Yeah, definitely. This is where, and they're so comfortable in possession, Leeds. They're just passing it around into midfield, across the back. They do look to go forward, but they're really happy to just keep possession at the moment, because, as you say, it's been difficult and under pressure, and with this heat as well.
Rather pacey back pass to Darlow that he had to scamper back to retrieve. No problem though for Leeds in the end, although the pressure is growing on the Leeds back line now. Castellanos and Pablo putting pressure on the Leeds back line, but a nice triangle between the three centre-backs and the goalkeeper allow Leeds out of that potentially tricky situation. Justin now over halfway, left-hand side, back into the Leeds half. Ampadu left-hand side of the centre circle. West Ham 0, Leeds 0. And you can probably hear that is why the atmosphere has just dropped a couple of decibels at a boiling London stadium. Justin, nice control, level with the edge of the West Ham box, left-hand side. Back it goes centrally. Ampadu, Tanaka with his black hair bouncing. Justin's again on the edge of the box, delivers with his right foot. That's Hermansson's all day long. Good loud call from the goalkeeper, made it his, wants to get West Ham going. You can hear the urgency and you can see the body language of Hermansson wanting to go forward, but the option is just a little bit limited.
Yeah, he's desperate. He's really well claimed, come out, caught the ball and wants to start that counter, but the West Ham players just aren't able to do it.
Aronson, space on the edge of the penalty area, wanted to get onto his right foot, starved of space. Now Mecha inside right channel, but the ball to him from Tanaka was a little overhit, and that wanders out of play for a West Ham goal kick. It remains 0-0. It remains 0-0 at Tottenham, and we have just under 15 minutes of the first half to play.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about, with the West Ham team knowing they have to win and Leeds just having that freedom. You can actually see that, West Ham are trying to force things, looking, they have to try and make that pass forward or through the lines, and Leeds are quite happy to just sit back, and they're soaking up pressure, and they look a threat on the counter every time West Ham give the ball away.
They have been a very tough nut to crack of Leeds for a long time now. Just 4 defeats in their last 24 Premier League games. That's the same as the champions Arsenal in that period. And you can see the confidence flowing through this Leeds side when they come forward. Mecha to Calvert-Lewin. That was nicely done inside the penalty area. West Ham fans wanting offside. Assistant referee's flag down for now. Ball to the back post. Justin stooping. Couldn't get the required contact on the ball, and now Bowen leading the West Ham counter-attack. He's been very quiet in the opening 32 minutes as Jared Bowen. Most of the West Ham attacks have come down the other side, Crescencio Somerville's flank, as Walker-Peters runs out of road, and Leeds have this throw midway through the West Ham half. West Ham will want to involve Bowen a lot more in this game. He's scarcely been involved.
Yeah, you can feel the frustrations now from the West Ham fans. They're just running out a little bit of steam. Leeds are coming on top, but you mentioned Bowen. He's been outstanding for West Ham ever since he's come. I think he's handled the pressure. He's handled everything so well. These last few, I'd say, weeks, maybe month, he looks tired. He does. He's done so much work for this team, and he's been relied upon so heavily that you just look and you just think, is he just lost that little bit of spark that he's had for so long? But he will do everything he possibly can for this West Ham team to stay up.
The jeers and whistles because Ampadu is taking as much time as he dares over this long throw that he throws in now deep inside the West Ham box, cleared on the 6-yard line, and now there are 2 West Ham players to ensure James Justin doesn't make any further progress. Walker-Peters is one of them. Nottingham Forest have taken the lead at home to Bournemouth. So Nottingham Forest 1, Bournemouth 0. Morgan Gibbs-White has scored there. He's another that can count himself unfortunate not to be part of Thomas Tuchel's World Cup party, but he's perhaps showing the England manager what he is missing, because he has scored for Nottingham Forest to give them a 1-0 advantage over Bournemouth. Bournemouth remains 6th for now, so with Aston Villa losing, if Liverpool were to get in front against Brentford, that would drop Villa down to 5th and would mean Bournemouth, should it all stay as is, would finish in the Champions League places. But there is still a lot of football to be played. Nottingham Forest have been safe for quite a while now, having been involved in the relegation battle, but Vitor Pereira doing an excellent job of navigating Nottingham Forest away from danger. And at the Amex Stadium, Manchester United are in front against another European hopeful, Brighton. So Brighton 0, Manchester United 1. Patrick Dorgo has scored. That game, incidentally, is live and in full over on Sports Extra 3 via the BBC Sounds app. Leeds coming forward. Mecha dangerously into the penalty area. Onto his right, onto his left. Opportunity here. Calvert-Lewin to tap it in. Great save, Hermansson. Real opportunity for Calvert-Lewin, and Hermansson makes an excellent save. It was a weak finish from Calvert-Lewin in the end, and that really would have been costly for West Ham. Leeds are still on the attack. Cross headed away at the front post by Souček. Rodon in a central position. Tanaka goes all the way back to halfway. What an opportunity for Leeds United there. An opportunity Calvert-Lewin should have taken.
Yeah, fantastic play by Mecha. Really good feet on the edge of the box. He thought he was cutting in to go on his right foot, and he's chopped back and passed it into Calvert-Lewin, who, again, with the form he's in, you expect him to nestle that into the back of the net. But a great save for Hermansen. But it's that you can feel that Leeds are starting to get on top, and the crowd are now starting to get on the backs of the West Ham players, because they just want to see more fight and determination to get to these crosses and passes and really try and put Leeds under pressure.
Yeah, the edginess has certainly increased at the London Stadium. Leeds have won another free kick. Mateus Fernandes in a little too keenly. We're just watching another replay. Mecha did really well, great feat to find the space, and then Calvert-Lewin, well, the only thing you can say in his defence that it was slightly behind him and on his left foot, but still a player in his form as well would be expected to score there.
Yeah, if he looks back at that, he'll be really disappointed he hasn't put that in the back of the net. But again, really good play, and that's why they're in just such good place and confident that they can go and do this.
15 Premier League goals for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. There was thought that he may have done enough to force his way into Thomas Tuchel's World Cup squad. Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins instead, the two strikers behind Harry Kane. Mavropanos and Hermansen, not great communication there, and the end result is Hermansen clearing, but actually they've been saved by the offside flag, so Hermansen's clearance wasn't well hit. He'll get an opportunity to do it from this free kick. And here the crowd, because you can just sense the lethargy has just crept in, and I'm sure the heat can explain that, but I think the West Ham fans just want to see a little more urgency. Even though Tottenham aren't losing the game, of course, if West Ham were to get in front, you can bet your bottom dollar that will feed its way through Tottenham Hotspur's crowd, and there'll be that sense of dissatisfaction that if Everton were to score, then West Ham would be safe and Tottenham would go down. But for that to happen, West Ham need to go in front, and they're not looking likely at the moment. Rodon will not get the beating of Somerville for pace. Inside right channel, a couple of yards in from the touchline. Somerville wins that battle easily, finds Juve. Those two had rather swapped roles momentarily. Juve, though, wonderful spin away from three Leeds players. How on earth did he get out of that tight situation? Pablo now coming forward. There aren't too many options in front of him, and Pablo and Juve rather run into each other, and what was a really promising situation fades into very little for West Ham.
Yeah, that seems to sum it up for West Ham at the moment. Really great defensive work by Somerville and Juve, and then bursting forward, and Pablo just not able to keep that momentum going. They've had a good spell there of trying to chase the ball as well. Tati's does what he does best. He's relentless in his pursuit to try and close people down, but it's just too easy for this Leeds side to just pass around them at the moment.
West Ham 0, Leeds United 0. 5 Sports Extra available via the BBC Sounds app. Over on 5 Live, still Tottenham 0, Everton 0. If it stays this way, Tottenham are safe. West Ham are going down, ending their 14-year stay in the Premier League. And it's Leeds United that have dominated the last 7 or 8 minutes of this game. They have dominated the ball. They are keeping it very comfortably, finding plenty of gaps in the sunshine. Now Ayo Tanaka with lots of space. He delivers. Calvert-Lewin just over his head. Mecha was beaten to it. Cleared. Bowen now feeds it down the line with his right foot. Castellanos comes to meet it. Bowen gets it back. Can West Ham get their captain on it? He plays it riskily backwards of square, and he's given it away. And now Calvert-Lewin's in. His right foot shot blocked by Mavropanos. He'll get a second attempt. Calvert-Lewin forced momentarily out of the penalty area, but still Bogle on his right foot. Side netting. And the West Ham fans are not happy with this West Ham lethargy. It was Bogle in the end with his right foot shot, not really threatening Mads Hermansen's goal, but the pressure is building on West Ham, even though it remains 0-0.
Yeah, I think the West Ham players are starting to look a little bit lethargic, a bit sluggish. They're not winning any of the second balls, and it's just the Leeds players that are nipping in and looking more sharp, and that's what the crowd are not liking. They're making themselves heard very, very easily.
We can see the two respective head coaches, Daniel Farke, who is in his traditional attire, black shirt, black jeans, the black shoes, very smart, and Nuno in his tracksuit. They must both be sweltering down there. I wondered if Daniel Farke might think, you know what, I'm safe, it's 28 degrees, I'll wear the shorts and t-shirts today.
Put the Havanas on.
Yeah, exactly.
No. I was at Norwich with Daniel Farke. He is relentless in his pursuit of what he wants. Even when Norwich won the league, he was still doing the double sessions every week, even though their season had done, they've been champions. That's how he is set up, and that's why you watch this Leeds team today, and they are still trying to win this game, still trying to do what they need to do, and that's all down to the manager. And yes, he's still wearing the same outfit that he was when he was at Norwich as well.
Oh, really? Really? Well, managers are set in their ways, aren't they?
But he's been excellent. He really has. He's been outstanding. I'm so pleased for him because even when he got promoted, there was calls for him to leave. They wanted new managers to come in, and he's been given an opportunity and he's delivered. And he's learned from his maybe mistakes from when he was at Norwich and he'd come up and go straight back down. He's now got a team that he knows exactly how to do it, and they've been excellent.
Fernandez, deep free kick for West Ham that is headed behind off a Calvert-Lewin, possibly Bogle head, and the end result is a West Ham United corner. And maybe this is what West Ham need with 4 minutes to play until half-time, an opportunity from this set piece.
This is all they could need, is set pieces. You see how important they are all through this season. Massive opportunity.
Somerville, 2 arms aloft in front of the Sir Trevor Brookings stand to our right. Static penalty area. Somerville delivers, and it's easily headed away by Justin. I was struck by how little movement there was in the penalty area for that.
But that's, you just see, you can hear the crowd as soon as that hits the first man. It's just such disappointment.
Yeah, Fernandez reloads, headed momentarily away. Great work from Pablo to win it back. Floats it to the back post. Castellanos' header drops just over the top. It's a half chance, you could call that. So difficult for Castellanos to direct that header goalwards. Pablo with the cross to the back post. Castellanos did all he could, and in the end it was a good couple of yards over Darlow's goal, and it remains 0-0.
Yes, that's what he tries to do. He's actually been quite he's had that sharpness and that spark, really. Tati, he's looked to try and just nick balls, being in around it, and that's him trying to be alive in the box with that header, but just not quite. He's stretching. It's not a great contact. He's just trying everything to get on the end of it.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise to see him on the bench last week against Newcastle, having started so many games prior to that. West Ham 0, Leeds United 0. Tottenham have taken the lead at home to Everton. Tottenham 1, Everton 0. And that is significant because whatever happens here, that would relegate West Ham United. So Tottenham are in front against Everton. Tottenham 1, Everton 0. The atmosphere was a little bit flat here anyway. That is not going to improve it, Matt. In fact, looking down, there are hundreds streaming out because we're close to half-time, rather than thinking that that's not going to be their day. But still, that is significant news from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham 1, Everton 0. A reminder that now, regardless of what West Ham do here, that scoreline would be enough for Tottenham and would relegate West Ham. Calvert-Lewin wins the ball back for West Ham. There's still lots of time to play. Strike volleys clear on halfway. And West Ham have the ball back on the right-hand side of the centre circle. Fernandez dinks it hopefully towards the edge of the penalty area. Walker-Peters is not fouled. Referee Anthony Taylor very quick to wave that potential free kick away. Fernandez to Mavropanos, and the Leeds fans have now realised, and they are chanting, "You are going down," which, Matt, would be factually correct, and that is, well, West Ham aren't winning this, but that's the last thing they need to hear.
No, but this doesn't change anything for West Ham. They have to win the game. I think it doesn't matter really even if Spurs win. You can't look and think if we did this, if we did that. They've got to win their game here, and they haven't really done enough to warrant it at the moment. Leeds have probably been the better side. There's been spells that this sums up West Ham. There's been spells in games where they've dominated and they've done so well, but they just haven't been able to capitalise on that, and that's going to sum up the season at the moment.
Final 15 seconds of the first half plus whatever added on time. Stephen Martin, our fourth official, adds on. Castellanos wins a throw for West Ham deep inside the Leeds half, very close to the corner flag. João Paulinho, incidentally, with the goal at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Manchester United now have a 2-goal lead at the Amex Stadium. Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Manchester United 2, Brian and Burmo. And the champions are ahead at Palace. Palace 0, Arsenal 1, Gabriel Jesus. has scored at Selhurst Park. 2 minutes have added on time at the end of this first half. West Ham 0, Leeds 0. Somerville has the ball, looking to jink his way past 2 Leeds players. Diouf, low ball across, is turned very nearly in. Darlow pounces on the ball. Well, Souček was close by. Biol was there as well. I'm not sure who it came off, but Darlow emerges with it, mightily relieved.
Yeah, it's always going to be, it's down this left-hand side, it's Somerville and Diouf, and Diouf just gets a yard, whips a ball really low in, and it's Souček that's trying to get on it, and it's been caught up in between legs and the goalkeeper, and then Darlow just dives on it with his hands, and that's it, the chance is gone.
Well, that would have given West Ham something, a glimmer. The draw is not enough, even if Tottenham were to lose at home to Everton, which they are not. West Ham need to win and hope Spurs lose, and neither of those things are happening, with Everton in front and West Ham only drawing. The Hammers have the ball, base of the centre circle. Disasi to Fernandez, directly to Somerville. That was a good ball. Diouf on the overlap. This is nice from West Ham. Low ball across, there to be won. Turned into the side, netting by Pablo. And from our angle, you would have heard the West Ham fans, because for a moment that looked like it had hit the roof of the net, the right side, not the wrong side. And that's where it ended up, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, again, down that left-hand side, Somerville feeds Diouf on that overlap, and it's a fantastic ball in. Great defending. I think it's Bowen that tries to get on the end of it. It comes off his chest, and then Pablo comes in with his left foot trying to get on it, and I think he just sticks it into the side netting.
Yeah, it's just bits and pieces, isn't it, that West Ham have created, and that is the half-time whistle from Anthony Taylor. You can hear the disgruntlement from the West Ham fans and the boos, because it is not going to plan. There would have been hope from West Ham supporters. It's always the hope that gets you in football. They needed to beat Leeds and hope that Tottenham slip up against Everton, and neither of those things are happening. With Tottenham leading against Everton and West Ham 0, Leeds 0 is the half-time score. You're hard-pressed to think of a clear West Ham United opportunity. Castellanos had a header over the bar. Fernandez with a drive from range. Really, the best chances have come for Leeds United. The best, Calvert-Lewin sweeping goalwards from very close range. Hermansen made the save, but it was a chance that Calvert-Lewin really should have scored. And West Ham fans, they need to see a lot more from their side, Matt Jarvis, and bottom line is, they need a goal.
Yeah, they do, and you can hear the boos coming off at half-time, and you can understand the frustration you can from the fans, because they want to see the team dominate. They know the importance of the game. They have to win. So they're just expecting a bit more. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's a bit of huff and puff, which, you've got the likes of Somerville and Diouf on that left-hand side, who are the most attacking threat for this West Ham side at the moment. Jarrod Bowen, as you mentioned, he has been non-existent this first half. It's been, whether that's because of Leeds and the way that they've marked him, or whether he's not been able to get into the game, and that is summed up the first half. Leeds dominating in areas, keeping the ball, being free, look like they're enjoying their football, whereas West Ham very tense, very nervy, and not really having the answers.
Yeah, it's the Leeds United fans at the moment enjoying their time in East London. They haven't seen their side take the lead, but they have been certainly the better creatively, and West Ham, who need to find a goal in the second half to give them any hope. And there will also be the need for Everton to turn it around at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Second half to come here on 5 Sports Extra, with the score at West Ham United 0, Leeds United 0. For now, we will hand you back to Mark Chapman on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Gingerly helping himself back to his feet, so...
Especially here, you talk about their form. Their home form is absolutely terrible. I mean, this season, you look at their home record: 1-2, drawn 6, lost 10, 2 wins from 18 games. But if you go back even further to last season, the stat extends. Their home record for the last 2 years is awful.
Half-time in 8 of the 10 games. They're still playing Burnley 0, Wolves 1. We'll be going around the grounds with Mark Chapman on BBC Radio 5 Live. Likewise on the World Service with Dellett. There indeed is the half-time whistle, and Garner punts the ball away in frustration, but there is no frustration for Tottenham Hotspur, because they are doing what they need to be doing. They are winning thanks to that precious goal from Paulinho. A scrambled effort at the second attempt after his initial header had come back off the post. Tottenham 1, Everton 0, Paul Robinson.
More than half a job done for Tottenham. The way that they've applied themselves today, the performance, the players there now down beneath us, just waiting to go off the field together. There's a coming together, there's exchanging of high fives, handshakes, and they're going off as a unit. I just worry that they think the job is done, but they've got a big second half to come out for. The manager's done extremely well the way that he sent them out, the way that they've attacked the game. They've got the goal, they've got what they needed. Now, how do they approach this second half? Do they go and get the second? Do they sit back? Is it cagey? Massive 45 minutes coming up.
They lead by a goal to 0, and that's all that they need to do, is to get the 3 points. Tottenham 1, Everton 0.
And West Ham have 45 minutes left of Premier League football as things stand. Alistair Bruce-Ball.
As I was just saying, Mark, you can hear it, can't you, coming through loud and clear on Radio 5 Live this afternoon. The marked difference in atmosphere between the two stadiums, the joy, the optimism coming from Tottenham, the fear, the dread, the gloom here at the London Stadium, all changing with that late João Palhinha goal. Nuno Espirito Santo clearly has got to get the message across. West Ham have to win the game to give themselves a chance and hope that Everton can turn that around. Leeds, in the first half here, it's been an engrossing game, have actually had the better chances. Calvert-Lewin going close twice, Hermansen's save, and Mavropanos' block. West Ham are going to have to go for it. They're going to have to create more, but they need Everton to do them a favour. Very flat here. It is West Ham 0, Leeds 0.
Of all the teams in the race for the European places, only one of them is winning at half-time, and that's Sunderland. Mike Mino.
And right now they are 7th and within a shot of Europa League football. Sunderland 1, Chelsea 0. Great first half from Sunderland, intimidating from the first minute. The Black Cats have repeatedly scratched at Chelsea. Neat finish on the volley from Trey Hume, just cushioned off the top of his boot, low and into the bottom corner when it was flicked on from Luca Nine's header. Brobby's been a nuisance that Chelsea are struggling to handle. For their side, a Tame Palmer effort and a header wide from João Pedro is the best they've managed. Funny moment as well. We talk about the fans and the role they play. Nordi Mukiele rotated his finger around his ears, loving the noise from the fans, then complained seconds later that he couldn't hear his own teammates. Sunderland 1, Chelsea 0.
Let's go to Anfield. Goalless at the break. Maz Faruqi.
And every single Liverpool player and fan desperate for Salah to say farewell to Anfield with a goal, and he's come mighty close. He hit the left post direct from a free kick from just outside the Brentford area to the left of the D early on in the half, and Liverpool have been all over Brentford without finding the back of the net. Gravenberch forcing a good save from Kelleher. He had to tip the shot around the right post, and Gamoa and Szoboszlai have had good opportunities as well. I can think of one real chance for Brentford in the entirety of the first half. It came right at the end of the half, but it was a really good one. Schade found himself in space 5 yards or so out, but he put his shot straight at Alisson. Liverpool 0, Brentford 0. That's enough for Champions League football at the moment for Liverpool, but not enough for Europe for Brentford.
No, it would leave Brentford finishing 9th at the moment, clinging on to 8th at Brighton, who've had a very disappointing first 45 minutes. John Southall.
They have. It's Brighton 0, Manchester United 2. Half a few chances. United had 2 and took both of them. The first, Bruno Fernandes with a corner on the right, and Patrick Dorgo nodded in. But the all-important assist, Fernandes now moves above Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne with 21 assists, the most ever in a Premier League season. Brighton, couple of chances. De Kuiper fifth, a shot wide.
Oh, we've lost John.
Beautifully worked.
He's back.
Ahmed on the right to Mount, back to Ahmed, across to Mbumo, who tapped in. He's got the goal. So as it stands, Brighton are 8th, which will bring them Conference League football. Brighton 0, Manchester United 2.
Bournemouth in 6th as things stand, but they're behind at the break. Charlie Slater.
They were on top initially, but Forest grew into the game. Chris Wood hit the post with a free header, and then Morgan Gibbs-White sent a message to Thomas Tuchel after his omission from the England squad with an 18th goal of the season in all competitions. It was a dart from 20 yards. So Bournemouth trail, but such are the permutations, Mark, that if Liverpool were to edge in front at Anfield, they'd still qualify for the Champions League. Forest 1, Bournemouth 0 at the break.
They would, as things stand, because Liverpool are drawing, they are staying in 5th. But if they were to get a goal, they'd jump above Aston Villa because Villa are behind at the break. Lee Blakeman.
Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0. The party got started amongst the home fans midway through the half. Corner swung in and picked out Antoine Semenyo at the back post to finish side foot across goal. Pep Guardiola with a wry smile on his face as the fans all around him cheered and roared. It's been all City in fact, James Trafford has hardly touched the ball. Savinio could have had 3. Reinders has gone close a couple of times. And Bernardo Silva, on his final appearance, clean through, on goal, but denied by the legs of Marco Bizot. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 0.
The Champions lead, John Murray.
Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1 here in sizzling South London. Captain on the day, Gabriel Jesus, finally scored with his 4th chance of the afternoon, a low drive. Palace have created 1 clear opportunity, but it was a good one. Munoz's diving header kept out by a super save, one-handed by Kepa on his Arsenal League debut. So at half-time, Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 1.
As things stand, Fulham will be finishing the season level on points with Chelsea. Henry Moran.
Fulham 1, Newcastle 0. Issa Diop's first of the season, nodded in past a helpless Nick Pope after the excellent Kevin's free kick had smashed down off the crossbar. Fulham by far the better side. Iwobi, Bob, Smith Rowe, all with good chances. Newcastle have offered very little, booed by the travelling fans at the break. Not a huge amount riding on this one. Mid-table positioning, yet certainly prize money there for. And at half-time, Fulham 1, Newcastle 0.
And as things stand, Wolves will be finishing the season not bottom. Julia Bold.
Burnley 0, Wolves 1. They are just going in because we've played 10 minutes added time. I'm not totally sure anyone at Turf Moor wanted the extra 10 minutes, but it was Wolves that went in front after 5 minutes. VAR spotted a Florentino handball. Adam Armstrong stepped up to the penalty spot. It was right-footed, top right corner to go in front. And as you say, move off the bottom of the table. Since then, Wolves have had plenty of chances to double their lead. Matthias Mane had a great chance. Then also Mosquera has had one. Max Weiss made a crucial save with a close-range effort from Santiago Bueno that looks certain to be going into the back of the net. Burnley have been poor despite keeping possession. They have had a great chance just before half-time, though. Florentino near the D, he had a go with his right foot and forced a save from Jose Sarr. It's not been great in quality, but it's Burnley 0, Wolves 1.
Elsewhere today, the League One playoff final went the way of Bolton. They beat Stockport by 4-1. So Bolton back in the Championship next season. And Hearts have won their first Scottish Women's Premier League title, even though they lost the Edinburgh Derby 2-0 at Hibs. The only side that could deny them were Rangers, but they were thrashed 6-0 at Glasgow City. Glasgow City finished 3rd, so it is Hearts' title. The other game in that division today finished Celtic 1, Partick 1. Rangers and Celtic meet in the Women's Cup final next Sunday, 1 minute to 5 o'clock. James Wickham has the news.
The voice of the UK. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
President Trump says the US blockade against Iran will remain in full force until an agreement is reached, certified and signed. Diplomatic efforts have intensified in recent days, but key sticking points remain, including control of the Strait of Hormuz and Iran's nuclear program. Here's the US political analyst Eric Ham.
Clearly, Iran is walking away from this with far more leverage than they had even before this war began. In addition to that, we're told that the White House is also prepared to suspend uranium enrichment at 3.6%. But still, what that means is Iran still keeps its nuclear capabilities in place.
The government says the Attorney General is urgently reviewing the case of 3 teenage boys who avoided custodial sentences after being found guilty of raping 2 girls in separate incidents. The boys were instead given youth rehabilitation orders. One of the victims has told the BBC that the judge's decision amounted to a slap on the wrist for her attackers. And the Met Office says heatwave conditions have been met in 8 parts of England. Amber heat health alerts are in place in parts of the Midlands and Eastern England until at least Wednesday. Yellow alerts have been issued for the rest of England. Dog owners are being urged to be cautious in the high temperatures. Charlie Dobson is from the Dogs Trust.
If you're going out with your dog, try and go out in the early morning or late evening where the temperatures are generally cooler. And think about ways that you can keep them cool at home during the heat of the day, be that having them in front of a fan. If your dog likes water, paddling pools or sprinklers, might be really nice for them.
And that's Charlie Dobson from the Dogs Trust.
On BBC iPlayer.
Gareth, simple question really. Do you think you're up to this?
A brand new drama starring Joseph Fiennes and Jodie Whittaker.
Everyone thinks that footballers are overconfident, arrogant. They're afraid.
Based on the award-winning play.
Keep believing. Keep going right up until the final whistle.
A new England that comes from behind, that fights.
Dear England.
Are England's young lions ready for the game of their lives?
Watch on BBC iPlayer.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Spurs lead Everton by a goal to nil. They are staying up as things stand. West Ham being held at home by Leeds. It is 0-0 at the London Stadium. Second half's on the way. Let's go to the French Open tennis. There are 2 Brits on court at the moment. Russell Fuller.
And it's not looking good in the early stages for Emma Raducanu in only her second clay court match of the season and second match since the early part of March. She's lost her first 4 games to Solana Sierra of Argentina, who is the world number 68, so 29 places below her in the rankings, but is a natural clay courter and has played twice as many matches as Raducanu this season. But too many errors from the British number 1 at the moment. Fran Jones, meanwhile, trying to win her first ever Grand Slam main draw match. Fought back in the second set against the former semi-finalist from Brazil, Beatriz Haddad-Maia, to win it on a tie-break, and she's recovered from a breakdown in the decider. It's currently 2 games all.
Thank you very much, Russell.
We'll
Back
continue.
to the day's football. Bolton have been promoted to the Championship. They beat Stockport 4-1 in the League One player final at Wembley. VAR was involved and it was used to disallow 1 Stockport goal, and also in the second half of stoppage time when the game was done, it was also used to send off Josh Dacus-Cogley for pulling the hair of Bolton's Ibrahim Sissoko. Here's Dave Challoner, the Stockport boss.
I don't think it's frustration at all. I think that's an absolute joke of a decision. And again, I get there'll be people in a VAR studio sat there slowed down and whatever else not, but that lad's played against this former club in probably one of the biggest games of his career and has been sent off for reaching out when he's not even looking at the player. How can that be the case? It almost be an advocate of everyone growing their hair. That's it. I say forget the result. Massive congratulations to Bolton. That is a really, really poor decision, and it's been seen before. I think it's a joke. I get it. Listen, I get it. If you turn around and I pull your hair deliberately, I sort of get that. Cogs isn't even looking at the ball. Forget the score, forget the penalty. I'm more concerned, and my duty is to the player. That'll not only be something that lives in for the rest of his career, but it'll get him a 3-game ban for next season, the start of next season, which is scandalous.
Do you think you're double done by VAR for the first goal as well?
Again, I don't think if the boot had been on the other foot that we would have got a free kick or a penalty for that. If Adama was running and gone down, I don't think we got a penalty for it yet because he scored, he got disallowed.
That is Dave Challoner with Aaron Paul. League 2 finalists tomorrow, Notts County against Salford. In the racing today, the Aidan O'Brien trained Precise won the Irish 1,000 guineas. It's the 12th time that he has won the race. He also saddled odds-on favourite True Love, who finished second. So in the Premier League at half-time then, Spurs lead Everton by a goal to nil, and it's West Ham 0, Leeds 0. West Ham are going down, Spurs are staying up. In the race for Europe, Sunderland are the only team winning. They are leading Chelsea by a goal to nil. As things stand, they would be finishing 7th. Liverpool 0, Brentford 0. Liverpool finishing 5th, Brentford finishing 9th as things stand. Villa are losing at Manchester City. They would finish in 4th. Brighton 2-0 down at home to Manchester United. They would get 8th, and Conference League football, if everything stayed the same, Manchester United confirmed as finishing 3rd. Bournemouth are losing at Nottingham Forest. They would finish 6th, and that would be Europa League football as things stand. Elsewhere, Fulham lead Newcastle 1-0. Burnley 0, Wolves 1. Wolves have finished 19th. Burnley had finished bottom, and the champions Arsenal are a goal up at Crystal Palace. And as we head back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Roberto De Zerbi has only lost 1 of the 22 Premier League matches in which his side has led at half-time. Depending on your outlook as a Spurs fan, that's positive, or I've just said something that will have you worried.
And a warm welcome back to the London Stadium on 5 Sports Extra. 4 West Ham United 0, Leeds United 0. A pivotal second half coming up for West Ham. With scores as they are, they will be relegated to the Championship this afternoon. They need a goal against Leeds and hope that Everton score a couple and beat Tottenham, which feels like it might be a little too much, but West Ham can't really worry about Tottenham for now. They need to do their job and win the game. Before kick-off, the Opta supercomputer gave West Ham a 14% chance of staying up. I suggest that percentage is a little lower now, given the half-time score. But there will be a half-time change, and it's one that Matt Jarvis, former England international, sitting alongside me, said almost right after the half-time whistle sounded. Callum Wilson on for Pablo. And Matt, that's the change that Nuno Espirito Santo has decided to make.
Yeah, well, the West Ham need a goal. Callum Wilson's the most natural goal scorer that they have. Tati can do that, the running around that Wilson may not be need to be able to do these days, but he can find a goal. He can find that bit of quality in front of goal that West Ham so desperately need.
So is this to be the final 45 minutes of Premier League football for West Ham United after 14 seasons in the top flight? They are 45 minutes away from relegation to the Championship. A reminder, they need to beat Leeds and hope Everton beat Spurs. And 0-0 the score here, 1-0 Tottenham the score over on 5 Live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And already there's a marked difference in the atmosphere between kick-off at the start of the first half and kick-off at the start of the second half. It was raucous, it was loud, there was belief at kick-off. There's not so much now. Leeds coming forward, blue shirts with a yellow trim going from left to right. So that's towards their pocket of supporters who are sitting in the lower tier and the upper tier. So they've got both tiers of the Sir Trevor Brookings stand. Quite a few empty white seats in the Leeds end, as many filter back from a refreshing half-time drink, and I bet it was a cold one in these sweltering temperatures. Leeds forward, right foot strike from Aronson is saved by Hermansen. Decent opportunity for Leeds in the opening stages. He didn't really get hold of his right foot shot, and Hermansen made a comfortable save to his right as his opposite number Darlow has some work to do. Back pass was a little short to him. He comes herring off his line to clear. Didn't really get much contact on the clearance, and now there's a chance for Wilson, and there's lots of space now for Castellanos for West Ham United, bundled down by Strike. No penalty. Anthony Taylor says that the strength of Strike was enough there. What a chance for West Ham. Castellanos can't take it.
He has to score. He has to score. Summerfield does well, plays it into Wilson, who slips in. Tati, he has a touch. He doesn't even need one. He could strike straight away. He has a touch, he delays, and then they'll come back to take the ball and get the strength in front of him. But he has to score. That is such a big opportunity for him.
Well, that would have just sent some tremors around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium if West Ham had scored there, and would have given the Hammers fans fresh belief. Castellanos, who did, as Matt says, had plenty of space in the penalty area. Haven't seen a replay yet, whether it got stuck under his feet, whether he couldn't quite find the angle to shoot. Either way, it was a big opportunity for West Ham at the start of this second half on 5 Sports Extra. It stays 0-0. West Ham in the claret shirts, the white shorts and the white socks. Now they're going from right to left towards the Bobby Moore stand. Sun still shining brightly down. No sign of that ending anytime soon this afternoon. The sky above is blue, and it's the blue shirts of Leeds on their way forward again. On the left-hand side of the penalty area is Metcha, and now Aronson centrally positioned, offloaded to Bogle, slid through to Metcha, who continued his run inside the penalty area, tracked all the way by Diouf, and Leeds have this corner near side the right.
He just has that feeling in this game. West Ham are trying everything, but it's just when they go forward, just the disappointment and I don't know, just feeling in the players doesn't look quite there. I've just seen a replay of this. Tati has a touch, he gets out of his feet, he's going to shoot, and he just misses the ball. He's sliding to try and get in, and he's just missed the ball. Really disappointing.
The shot on our monitor of Nuno Espirito Santo, head in his hands, walking away towards his dugout forlornly. That was a big moment in this game that Castellanos could not take. 0-0 the score, Leeds corner. Ao Tanaka on this near side, the right, will swing it in dangerously, goes a long way, and saved on the line by Mads Hermansen.
Wow.
Well, time seemed to stand still there as Hermansen drops on the ball. Strike, I think, was closest to it, but he didn't really know where the ball was.
Wow, what a corner. It's a bit whipped in. It's actually bounced inside the 6-yard box right in the centre of the goal, and no one has attacked it from either side.
West Ham have had huge problems defending set pieces and corners in particular this season, although the majority of their problems came early on in the season. Nuno Espirito Santo, by and large, has seen away that issue. Foul right on the edge of the penalty area conceded by Mavropanos on Aronson. It's the kind of decision that Anthony Taylor was allowing to play on in the first half, but not here. And Leeds now have a free kick that's inside the D. It's only a yard or so away from the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, I think Mavropanos, he's got his hands all over him a little bit, but there wasn't that much contact. But as you say, there was an opportunity here. Is it too close to try and get it up and over the wall? Is there going to be someone that's going to be lying down behind the wall? It seems to be the way these days.
So this free kick is just to the right of the D. It's inside the D. As such, the wall is being marked just outside the 6-yard box. Anthony Taylor making sure that no West Ham players come over the imaginary line that he's drawn, or the line he's drawn with his magic spray. Several Leeds players are over this. Aronson, who won the free kick, looks favourite. Justin is there as well. Hermansen erecting a wall to his left. There is the old draft excluder, who is that Somerville? Yeah, it is. Crescencio Somerville, who's got the unfortunate job. Here comes the Aronson free kick, hits the wall. Second opportunity, doesn't get hold of it. And in the end, much ado about very little. West Ham have this goal kick.
Yes, it's disappointing. Straight into the wall. Although saying that, it's a big wall. And I said about is it a bit too close to try and get up and over, or are you just trying to go just maybe the keeper's side and just give it as hard as you possibly can into that side? But yeah, I think if I was still playing, I think that job, like Somerville was doing, that draft excluder, could well have been mine.
Would that have been yours?
I'd like to think not, but it very much could have been.
They would have said, Matt, you're not adding a great deal of height to the wall, so do you mind?
I might not have made the length of the wall either on the floor.
Matt Jarvis, former England international with us, former West Ham winger. At the moment, watching his old club relegated to the Championship. There have been lots of goals elsewhere. Villa have equalised at the Etihad, so Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 1. Sunderland now 2-0 up at home to Chelsea. A Malo Gusto own goal, so Sunderland 2, Chelsea 0. The champions 2-0 up away at Palace, Noni Madueke, to make it Palace 0, Arsenal 2, and Manchester United, who are already confirmed third in the Premier League, have scored a third. At the Amex against Brighton. Brighton 0, Manchester United 3. Bruno Fernandes. Somerville away from his man into the penalty area. Somerville shoots right foot. He went for power. It's loose at the back post. Castellanos over the bar from a tight angle. Another opportunity for West Ham. Somerville created the first. Couldn't really find the angle to shoot. Leeds didn't really clear their lines effectively, and Castellanos at the back post fires over the top.
Yeah, it's Somerville. He gets inside the box. You can see he's trying to get onto that right foot to curl it into the far post. He decides, instead of curling it, to try and just strike it as hard as he can, which ricochets, and it comes to Tati. A real tough angle. Maybe the decision should have been to try and play it back and find someone else, but he's tried to strike it and it's gone way over and wide.
Well, they're just showing signs, West Ham, of life. Leeds on the counter-attack. Deep ball that goes from left to right through the penalty area. Bogle won't keep this in play. West Ham throw, left-back position. More goals going in up and down the country. Marcus Tavernier has equalised for Bournemouth at the City Ground. Nottingham Forest 1, Bournemouth 1, and Burnley a level in the battle between the two relegated sides at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Wolves 1. Zion Fleming has scored for Burnley. So not a huge amount has changed in terms of the European places. Villa in 4th and Liverpool in 5th. Bournemouth, who were behind, now level, would still be 6th. Sunderland 7th and Brighton 8th. So as things look, Brighton getting Conference League football, Bournemouth and Sunderland getting Europa League football, and Villa and Liverpool, along with Manchester United, Manchester City and Arsenal, will be playing in the Champions League. What it does mean is Villa, who have got that point as it stands at Manchester City, even if Liverpool were to get a goal now, it would only put them a point behind Villa. So Bournemouth would be Europa League football next season and not Champions League football, but there is still time for that to change. Leeds, meanwhile, have a free kick that is just inside the West Ham United half. West Ham need to harness that energy they created in the opening stages, Matt, and make sure that they keep their foot on the old accelerator and not let Leeds back into it.
Yeah, the monitor in front of us just showed Nuno trying to do that to his players, trying to G them up. Come on, you still believe, keep going. You need to concentrate this set piece, but you've got to try and get yourself forward, get these goals. They're desperate. I mean, it will be so disappointing for any West Ham fan in here to whatever happens with the result with Tottenham to lose or to draw this game. They have to go out at least with a win here.
Tanaka over this Leeds free kick, clipped to the back post, several bodies go for it. Biol didn't know where it was, turned around and the ball was already away from him. West Ham hack it away. Leeds throw midway inside the West Ham half. Cole Palmer has one back for Chelsea. So Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1. Lots of England would-bes have been on the score sheet today. Cole Palmer, another one excluded from the Thomas Tuchel World Cup squad. He's scored for Chelsea. Morgan Gibbs-White has already scored for Nottingham Forest. Ollie Watkins has scored for Villa. He will be going. Long throw. That's comfortably headed away by Juve. Tanaka loose. Somerville robs him. Now it's 2-on-2 and Castellanos has a lot of work to do here. Leeds players swarming back. Somerville at the back post. He will get there in front of Darlow, who cannot touch him, and he doesn't. Somerville forced wide, trying to find that angle to shoot. He needs support. It's away from Souček, who is arriving. Bowen was there as well, and in the end Leeds do hack it to comparative safety, but maybe not for long. Juve looks deep, too deep, maybe, and over actually. I wondered for a moment whether that was Ronaldinho style, dropping into the back post. Over the bar it went. Another chance for West Ham, difficult one to take. Somerville just couldn't quite find the right pass into the box.
Yeah, you wanted it the other way round. Tati passing it to Somerville because he could have got away from him, but once it's got back, Leeds could get back defended in good numbers, lots of numbers in that box, and Somerville just trying to play in Bowen and just played behind him, and it comes to nothing again. That's the biggest thing that's happening for this West Ham side. They're creating opportunities, they're getting the players in the right areas. It's just that end product, that final pass or that shot at goal has just not been good enough.
One goal would change the dynamic of the atmosphere. It wouldn't change the scenario in any way, with West Ham needing Everton to score a couple of goals at Tottenham, but we know how quickly this game can change. If West Ham can get in front, Everton can find an equaliser, then suddenly it's right in the balance again. Somerville, who's making strides on this left, Juve's ball across. Darlow was committed for a moment. It was over his head. Ball just about kept in play by Bowen on that far side, the left. Souček's in support, lending a hand. Centrally it comes. Fernandez, great ball. Castellanos pushes Rodon. Free kick Leeds. Good shape on that cross from Fernandez, but Castellanos, in his eagerness to win the header, pushes Rodon. Leeds free kick, and it stays West Ham 0, Leeds 0.
Getting good pressure by West Ham, but Leeds just defending so well. You can see why they've done so well recently. They're getting bodies in the box. They're really defending in numbers, and they're putting their bodies on the line. It's really good defending right there, right inside the 6-yard box. But you're trying it again. We're saying West Ham, it's huff and puff really. They are trying. I just feel like these home fans now are just they can feel like, yes, it's not going to be our day, but we just want to at least go out on a win.
Well, there'll be nothing to lose for West Ham as we move through the game with 57, nearly 58 minutes played. They will have to throw all caution to the wind to get the win. You could argue, and there will be those that will argue, that should have been West Ham's approach from the start of the game. The one thing I suppose Nuno couldn't afford is for Leeds to go in front, and then you really are chasing the game. But the onus is now very much on West Ham to find something in this game.
Well, look, it hasn't been just this game. It's been such a poor start where even just a one win, I know every team can say this, but from just one win and then first couple of 10, 15 games that they've had where they were really disappointing. Since Nuno comes in, there's been a structure, there's been a productiveness, and they've had some really good results, and you can see that the team is together. There's a togetherness, but ultimately the early part of the season has really cost them.
It has just 3 wins in their first 21 Premier League games, and that is undoubtedly where the damage was done. Leeds are monopolising possession. They are keeping very comfortable hold of the ball. Metcher, though, comes cross-country and into traffic. West Ham win it. Wilson now sets off on a very lone journey forward. He was all on his own inside the Leeds half and rather predictably lost his way. And the blue shirts of Leeds win it back on 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. 0-0. Matt has spotted something. He's pointing at Liverpool 1, Brentford 0. Curtis Jones has scored after 58 minutes. This has flashed up on the old Vidi printer. Now that is interesting, because what that does mean that if Villa were to slip up and City were to go in front, then it would put Liverpool up to 4th, Villa into 5th, and Bournemouth would qualify for the Champions League next season.
Wouldn't that be great for Bournemouth? they have been so good. It's great to watch.
Meanwhile, West Ham, that ball from Somerville lacked the required quality for Wilson. That was on. And then it was a rather nasty coming together between Somerville and Ampadu. And there's immediate concern from 2 players that are close by, Souček and Calvert-Lewin. Then Anthony Taylor waves on the physio as well. And that was just after Somerville released the ball for Wilson to run onto. Ampadu was there a little bit too late, and now both players needing treatment inside the centre circle.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they'll show a little replay of that on our monitor, because we didn't get to see what happened there. You followed the ball where Wilson was trying to get in on goal, but it'd be a massive disappointment for West Ham if it means Somerville can't continue. I hope that it's just a clash of heads or coming together, that he's just going to be able to get up and carry on, because he's been a really important part of this West Ham team. And down this left-hand side with him and Diouf, they have been the creative spark that West Ham have needed.
Yeah, the main threat certainly has come from Crescencio Somerville's flank rather than Jared Bowen's. Chelsea, having just got their way back into the game at Sunderland, are now down to 10 men. Wesley Fofana has been sent off for 2 yellow cards up at the Stadium of Light. So Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1, but Chelsea now down to 10 men. Brighton are holding on to that final Europa Conference League space as it stands, even though they're losing 3-0 at home to Manchester United. They're being helped by Sunderland winning against Chelsea. If Chelsea, albeit looks a tough ask now with 10 players, were to get a goal, then that would change things again and put Chelsea into 8th and Brighton down to 9th. So still lots of things to sort. And as we've just mentioned, if Manchester City were to get in front against Aston Villa, that would give Bournemouth an opportunity. Aston Villa have now gone 2-1 up at the Etihad Stadium. Ollie Watkins has scored his second of the afternoon. So Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 2, which would cement Villa's place in the top 4. Liverpool would stay 5th. And it would mean Bournemouth would only get Europa League football. I say only, still a very good achievement from Andoni Iraiola's side. And it would also mean that Pep Guardiola's farewell would be tarnished somewhat with a defeat. You're not missing anything at the London Stadium. Ethan Ampadu is okay and is back on receiving, well, he's back on his feet, and so is Crescencio Somerville. And by the looks of both benches, Matt, it doesn't look like there are any immediate changes, so presumably the hope is that both will be okay, albeit the way Somerville's walking off suggests that there will be a change.
Well, as you say, I don't think any of the West Ham players are stripped and ready to go. I think there's movement on the Leeds bench. I think, can't see who it is, but they're definitely going to be making a change, I think, at some point soon. But it's that time as well. It's 62 minutes on the clock. With the temperature, with this heat, you really are wanting to have some sort of spark. And as we said, Leeds are not coming here to just pick up a point and be happy with a draw. They're coming to get 3 points and getting up to the 50-point mark. That would be an outstanding achievement for them.
Yeah, 48 points they'd be on with this draw. If they were to get to 50 points, it would indeed be a fabulous achievement for Daniel Farke's side. Not too many come up from the Premier League, from the Championship, and hit 50 points. This 8-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, club's longest in the Premier League since their 13-game unbeaten run way back in the early noughties when they were perennial Champions League contenders.
We are back underway, and both Somerville and Ampadu are okay for now, so both are back on the field. Leeds are coming forward with Justin, who clips a hopeful ball into the West Ham box. That's cleared comfortably by Juve up towards halfway. Castellanos wins a good header. Wilson all a little bit too intricate as he tried to find Bowen, who, well, much like the first half, has been a passenger in this second half. Brentford have equalised against Liverpool at Anfield. Kevin Schade has scored. Liverpool 1, Brentford 1. So if Brentford were to find a winner there, then they would go into 8th place and into Conference League football qualification at the expense of Brighton. It looks like Brighton's race is run in terms of the game. 3-0 down at home to Manchester United. The West Ham United fans are doing their best to get behind their side. We have 25 minutes to play on 5 Sports Extra, available via the BBC Sounds app. 5 live for Tottenham-Everton. Tottenham still 1-0 up. And if that were to stay the same, regardless of what West Ham do here, that would keep West Ham in the relegation zone and would send them down to the Championship. Fernandes, good challenge. Wilson leaves it to him. Fernandes now approaching the edge of the Leeds box, onto his right foot, back to Wilson, who went for goal. Didn't really fancy him there on his right foot, outside of his right foot, and Leeds nevertheless had plenty of bodies back to defend.
Yeah, again, brilliant defending by Leeds, but it's another counter-attack, and it was Fernandes in the middle of the park who does everything. He's been the engine all season for West Ham, but they just can't get that final pass away.
Leeds lose their way in midfield. West Ham have it back. It's Walker-Peters having a go on the right-hand side now, up against Justin. He had a moment to cross. He took that moment, but Justin got back to him at the expense of a West Ham United corner.
Yeah, these West Ham fans are trying to get behind the team. They are giving it everything. They just want to see them win this last game of the season, give themselves a chance, even if it's a slim chance.
13 Premier League games this season West Ham have failed to score in. Only Forest and Wolves are worse in that particular metric. Can they make this corner count to give them a hope and to send a few nerves around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? Bowen with the corner, deep to the back post. Castellanos rose, but Darlow got there first. It's back to the corner taker. Bowen in his blue boots runs up against Justin, who does well to get in the way of Bowen, but it's another West Ham United corner.
Yeah, good bit of pressure, but again, really good defending by Leeds.
What can West Ham do with this latest Bowen corner? In the sunshine, far side, the West Ham right into the penalty area, headed in! West Ham United score! A glimmer of hope around the London Stadium. West Ham are not done yet. Castellanos heads in the corner to make it West Ham 1, Leeds United 0, and West Ham are not done just yet.
Well, we have said about how important set pieces are, and once again it comes from a corner. Jared Bowen, great delivery in. We had an identical one just a second ago which Leeds defended so well, but it's come in and it's Satidas, he's right at the back, it's gone over everyone, and he's just guided that in. Really good header, and his celebration was sprinting off. I think he booted one of the balls up into the fans. He's been good. He has been good since he's come to West Ham. He's been the one that's had that energy levels, had that bit of, I don't know, that fearless to go and try and do something, and his energy levels in this team have been instrumental. And you know, this is a chance now. They've got to keep this momentum going, to hope and pray that Everton can do something for them.
His 7th goal of the season, Tati Castellanos, following his January move, and it has just given West Ham United a squeak. They are doing their bit. They are winning this game, but now they need Everton to score a couple of goals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and the atmosphere may have just changed slightly at that ground. Not too far away from here. They are still leading by a goal to 0, but if Everton were to get an equaliser, then there would just be one Everton goal away from West Ham staying in the Premier League and Tottenham going down instead. West Ham 1, Leeds 0 on 5 Sports Extra. That goal, timed as it was from Tati Castellanos on 67 minutes, so midway point of the second half, means it's another water break, so it's come at a good time, you could argue, for Leeds. Nuno is right in the heart of that team talk. He's having an animated discussion with Bowens there. Somerville is there. Jared Bowen is getting a lot of his words. His captain, Nuno,
as Leeds make a couple of changes. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is coming off, so his Premier League season is done, and he's not in the England squad, but he's had a very good Premier League season with his 15 top-flight goals for West Ham. Wilfred Gnonto is on, and Dan James is also on the field, and Jakob Biol is coming off. So Leeds going from a back five to a back four. Biol is off, Calvert-Lewin is off, James and Gnonto to add some serious pace to this Leeds side. And they have 21 minutes to try and find an equaliser. West Ham 1, Leeds United 0, and it could be an interesting final 20 minutes of the Premier League season. Back underway following that water break and that Tati Castellanos goal. At least West Ham fans now have their side in front, and they are doing their job. They'd love a second goal as well, just to give them a position of comfort. Lovely ball, Juve into the penalty area. First touch was heavy, and Darlow quickly off his line to smother any potential danger and to keep the score at West Ham 1, Leeds United 0.
Well, you can see the intent from Leeds straight away. Daniel Farke's decided that's it, make some changes, freshen it up, and they do have some pace on the counter, which it looks like that's going to be the game plan. You see straight away Darlow picks it up, bang, straight up the field, trying to get that pace going.
They now have some serious pace in James and Gnonto. Diminutive in stature, but rapid moving forward for Leeds, who have it on the edge of their own penalty area. Strike two, the aforementioned Gnonto, who looked up and went early to Metcher, who didn't really read the intention. West Ham win it. Bowen now with his left foot, didn't look as he played it towards Wilson. He'd set off in a completely different direction, and that rather sums up Bowen's afternoon. Leeds have it in their left-back position. There is a streak of sunshine, a curved arc of sunshine on that far side. Those in the top end of the east stand on that far side getting a little bit of relief from the sun, and they'll be mightily relieved for that. Those that are still towards the bottom end of that tier having to shield their eyes from the sun. I hope the sun cream has been liberally applied over there. Fernandez in his own right-back position with a good challenge on Aronson, and Leeds have this throw level with the edge of the West Ham box.
Yeah, once again, I keep bringing up Fernandez, but he really has been exceptional in this West Ham team that have struggled. There again, he's chasing back into the right-back spot near the corner flag, making a last-ditch challenge, just showing what desire he has, that he wants to and desperately needs to win this game.
West Ham are winning this game, but they have a long throw to repel here. Ampadu launches it in. Mavropanos does repel it, commandingly so, with a powerful header. Leeds go all the way back to Darlow in orange, away to our left. Leeds going from left to right in their blue shirts. They are trailing 1-0. West Ham are winning this game, and now they have a free kick. Metcher fouling Disasi, and it is a West Ham free kick. But another reminder that this will not be enough for West Ham United. They need Everton to beat Tottenham, and that is not happening. Tottenham still lead at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium over on 5 Live. Tottenham 1, Everton 0. On Sports Extra 2, the champions are 2-0 up at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Arsenal 2. On Sports Extra 3, another game that looks done and dusted. Brighton 0, Manchester United 3. All the reaction to come on 5 Live between 6 and 7. And we've also got the Canadian Grand Prix with George Russell in front of Kimi Antonelli, a Mercedes 1-2. That's a 9 o'clock start on BBC Radio 5 Live. Plenty of sport to look forward to with the French Open underway as well, and there'll be plenty of coverage across the BBC of Roland Garros over the next couple of weeks. And then, Matt, the small matter of the World Cup, which I believe you're out there as a punter for in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. I say unfortunately, it was my birthday. I turned 40
Happy
on Friday.
Birthday.
Yes, thank you. So as a little treat with a few of my mates, we are off to New York.
Very nice. West Ham 1, Leeds 0. The sting of the game has just gone here, with West Ham leading this game, so doing all they need to do. Onus on Leeds to try and get the ball forward quickly, but they're not doing much of that either, and are keeping it very safely and comfortably in their back line. Now in a back four. Ampadu is dropping into that back four to start Leeds going.
rode on. The two Welsh internationals combined. No Wales at the World Cup this year, losing out in the playoffs to Bosnia and Herzegovina, who will be at the World Cup, having beaten Italy in the playoff final. Leeds work it forward and have a throw midway through the West Ham half. And what do West Ham do here? Because they have the lead. I'm sure there will be an element of, well, we have it, so we don't need to push for more goals. But we always know in this game that's a very dangerous policy, especially with, 15 minutes plus still to play.
Yeah, it was a dangerous policy for West Ham anyway, because they struggle for clean sheets, struggle to hold on to a lead. So really, sometimes the best form of defence is attack. But I suppose it's been a tough game for them all round with everything that's been going on. So getting that 1-0 lead, just trying to see the game out slightly. Don't know about changes, if anything's going to happen there. They're just trying to get out of the left-hand side near the corner flag at the moment.
Which they've done very effectively. Socek involved, lovely ball over the top. Castellanos, now Bowen is away, but the touch from Ampadu was really a well-timed. Actually, it was Bogle getting across there, and now the referee has seen a foul just outside the Leeds box, so they will have a free kick. That was a lovely Castellanos ball over the top, and Bowen for a moment looked like he was away, but Leeds got plenty of bodies back.
Yeah, again, really good defending, because Bowen's just took it at his chest. He's just looking to get on that, but Bogle's come round, done really well defensively, read the situation and cleaned up.
West Ham 1, Leeds 0. 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. Is there to be another Premier League twist on this final day?
There's always a twist.
There's always a twist. Well, if it's going to come, it's going to have to come at Tottenham, who need, as far as West Ham are concerned, Everton to get a couple of goals. Somerville with a decent run forward, but then a loose pass in the direction of Bowen that was easily intercepted. Now there's space for Metcher, who feeds it down the inside right. Aronson was the willing runner, but Hermansen was quickly out of his goal to relieve the pressure on the West Ham goal, and they can start again. And because of this situation, Matt, and because of the weather, the blue sky, the sun shining down, now it does have the feel of a game that sometimes happens where sides have nothing to play for. I imagine at Craven Cottage for Fulham Newcastle it might be a little like this, where maybe the stresses and strains of the season for Leeds and also the weather means that we're watching a very low intensity game play out.
Yeah, but you can you know that there's nerves out there, especially on the West Ham players as well. Just any mistake could cost any sort of chance if Everton turn this round. But they have to just stay concentrated. And I think Nuno's going to have to look at changing it, because I think just physically players are looking tired, they look jaded, and now Leeds with their changes as well, with that pace on that transition, I think could be a problem.
Aronson on the half turn into the penalty area he goes. Fernandez though in the way, and then Disasi slams it into the body of Aronson. It scoots behind, and West Ham have this goal kick, still leading this game by 1-0. The substitutes for West Ham as Leeds prepare a couple of changes. Facundo Buonanotte, the lesser spotted Facundo Buonanotte, who's been out for an awfully long time with injury, so he's making his first appearance since February, is coming on for Leeds United. For West Ham, who made that half-time change, Callum Wilson for Pablo, there's not a huge number of options on the West Ham bench. The goalkeeper, Alphonse Areola, and then you're looking at a couple of the defenders in Max Kilman and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a couple of the youngsters then in Ollie Scarles and Freddie Potts, and then you've got some even more lesser experienced bodies like Kaiba Lamadrid, the Venezuelan international, Mohamedou Kante, Songuto Magassa as well. Leeds changes though. First of all, Joel Pirro is coming on, so to Facundo Buonanotte. Ayo Tanaka is the first player to be withdrawn, the Japanese international, getting a loud ovation from the Leeds fans to our right, many in white, also many in the strip that Leeds are currently wearing, the blue and the yellow. And Jayden Bogle's game is over as well, so Tanaka and Bogle off, and two forward-thinking players in Buonanotte and Pirro. So Daniel Farke also may be thinking, well, nothing to lose, we may as well go for it, because that's another defender that's been taken off and another forward player on in his place.
Yep, I wouldn't expect anything less from a manager in this situation. What is there to lose? He's trying to get back in the game. He's already losing, so why not go and try and attack this and get goals back? It's just going to make it even more intense for these West Ham fans.
Yeah, Leeds have lost just one of their last 11 in all competitions. They could be losing this game as Bowen escapes on the left of the penalty area and fires into the bottom corner. That is much more like it from Jared Bowen, and this is much more like it from West Ham United. They have a second goal in a game they simply have to win. And now it is over to you, David Moyes and Everton. West Ham are doing their bit. They lead Leeds by 2-0, but this is not enough as it stands.
Yeah, Jared Bowen, I mean, what more can you say about him? He's been so quiet today, but when he has his opportunity, he has one chance to go forward. It was in the middle of the pitch. Mavropanos wins it, and then it's Fernandez looks up, plays him in, and he's got a clean run at him. Decides to go it alone. Big touch, looks round, takes it on his right foot, and great strike, a cross goal into that far corner. He almost just looked to the fans and it wasn't a big celebration. It was a bit of a fist pump and just saying, we've done our best. You know, that is the best we can do. We're winning the game. You know, what will be, but you know, really good for him. He must have had the frustration of the game the last couple of weeks as well, and then no England call as well. Bit of venom in the strike just to finish off the season on a high for him.
His 11th goal of what has been at times a difficult season for Jared Bowen. His numbers have still been very good for West Ham. Not enough to force his way into the England side, but a goal to give West Ham comfort in this game. They lead by 2-0 now, but Everton are still 1 down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and for West Ham to survive, they need Everton to win the game. And as that clock creeps ever closer to 90 minutes, the chances of that happening get ever slimmer. Leeds on the attack. This is not a familiar feeling for them, having been so good in recent weeks. Aronson works it to the left. Nonto now, ball at his feet, gets away momentarily from his man. Dink to the back post. That's a little too heavy for everyone in blue, and that will not be kept in play by James on this near side. And West Ham have a throw with 10 minutes to play. And Matt, you said it at the start, as long as West Ham give it their all and win the game, then whatever will be elsewhere, and West Ham at least are winning this game.
Yeah, well, this is what they had to do. It doesn't matter what was going on. They had to do their bit, which was win the game, and they're doing that now. You know, the crowd have been behind them all day, to be fair. There's a couple of moments where they had a little bit of a moan. They had a little tiny boo at half-time, but they have tried everything in this second half to get them going. And at least, you know, with what's the 81 minutes on the clock, at least they can look and go, look, we finished the season on high, we've won the game, and you just still hope and pray that David Moyes can do something.
Yeah, now with the game seemingly won, a lot of the ire from West Ham fans turned towards the owners. David Sullivan, we saw a shot of him earlier actually on the monitor, looking fairly anxious and glum. And we know that there is dissatisfaction towards the hierarchy here at the London Stadium, and there is a big job for West Ham moving forward. This is not an unfamiliar position for them. We know they went down, I know, a good 14 years ago now. Sam Allardyce then took them back up into the Premier League at the first time of asking via the playoffs. But you suspect, Matt, that the likes of Jared Bowen, the likes of Mateus Fernandez, two players certainly that you very much doubt will be part of the West Ham fabric next season, maybe others to follow as well. Whether it's Nuno or not, there's a big job here for someone.
Yeah, there's so many. It's just more answers than more questions than answers in this. You know, there's so many things that need to happen and need to change, and there's going to be players leaving. There's going to be huge disappointment for staff. You know, people in and around the stadium, maybe training ground. There's going to be all sorts of people that, unfortunately, you know, financially, it's going to make a massive difference. And this is why the fans are so passionate, and that's why the disappointment is so real, because, you know, it is such a huge club that shouldn't be in this situation. They shouldn't be having to have sacrifices in every department, whether that's playing, whether that's staff or general fans.
And this will be their third relegation from the Premier League, unless things change. Relegated back in 2003 and 2011. 42 points they got in 03, 33 in 11. And the points total they're going to get this year is sizable as well, 39. And that, in most other seasons, would have been more than enough to keep a team in the Premier League. So they can maybe count themselves a little bit unfortunate to be going down with a sizable points total. Not over yet as Buonanotte comes forward. Deflected shot from him that goes wide of Hermansen's post. And that's out for a Leeds corner on that far side, the right.
I think when you look at the whole season, whoever is in them 3 relegation zones, they deserve to be there. Unfortunately, it's however way you look it up, they've just not been good enough for the whole season.
Leeds corner then, trailing 2-0. They will be ending what's been a good season on a low note unless they can get a couple of goals. Here's a chance for Pirro on the right-hand edge of the box, onto his right foot, drives it across goal. A couple of ricochets, fortunate ones for West Ham, and they clear. James back into the penalty area. Bowen will head that away and will not keep it in play on that far side, the West Ham United right. So Leeds have this throw. 5 and a bit minutes to play. West Ham 2, Leeds United 0 on 5 Sports Extra. No changes in any of the scorelines elsewhere in the Premier League. So Manchester United still 3 up at Brighton, Burnley 1, Wolves 1. The champions Arsenal 2 up away at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. Fulham 2, in fact that has been a goal at Craven Cottage. So Fulham 2, Newcastle 0. Tom Cairney has scored for Fulham. Liverpool 1, Brentford 1. Villa are 2-1 up at Manchester City in Pep Guardiola's final game in charge of Manchester City. 1-1 between Forest and Bournemouth. Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1. Tottenham 1, Everton 0. That's the crucial scoreline. They've only got through 81 minutes at Spurs, so they're a good 5 minutes or so behind here. So if there's a sizable chunk of stoppage time, then there may well be a situation where West Ham have done their job and Tottenham at least know what the state of play is here. But at the moment they're seeing that game through and leading by a goal to 0. Everton, the only scenario in which Spurs would be relegated, given the scoreline here, that's an Everton win. And an Everton win is not happening as things stand. Souček dangerously back to goalkeeper Hermansen, although the danger was fleeting. And he comes out of goal and clears with his right foot side-footed downfield. What do you think? Probably an unfair question this, Matt, but the reaction at full time, West Ham looks like they're going to win the game but go down. Muted, will there be the boos?
I think the boos will be coming probably not to the players. I think we've already heard it's probably be from more.
James, ball into the penalty area and a Metch's touch, and then Pirro's header is weak, straight into the gloves of Hermansen.
Yeah, the fans have already sort of made their feelings quite clear about the board. I think that's what the frustration will be within at the end of full time. The disappointment's there for everyone. They just haven't been good enough all season. They've had spells in games where they've been excellent. They just haven't been able to finish it off, and ultimately that's been the downfall. Nuno's come in and been. He has transformed them. Yes, the results, some of them haven't been good enough, but the desire and the commitment has been there since he's taken over, which it should be. And that's what every single fan from any club expects. And that's the minimum that should be there every single week.
Well, they were 7 points from safety at one point in January, 13 behind Spurs. But since the 17th of January, West Ham have produced top half form, really, taking 22 points from 16 games. Tati Castellanos is being replaced, and it's Mahamadou Kante coming on in his place. And Tati Castellanos has done his bit, scoring the first goal this afternoon, and he gets a warm ovation from the West Ham supporters, and he in turn applauds the fans as he makes his way off the field. He has done his bit with 7 goals since his move in January. He's one that you're not sure about his future, whether or not he will stick around for the championship. High five from Nuno Espirito Santo, and Mahamadou Kante is on in his place.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been that real impotence since he's come to the club. That energy, obviously goals. That's been the main reason why he's come to the club. But it's always difficult to come and hit the ground running. But he's really done that, and it's helped. It's helped with the energy within the team. Someone up the top that can run around and be that person that can really just make something out of nothing.
West Ham on the attack midway through the Leeds half. Somerville has it on the edge of the penalty area. A couple of step overs, not really fooling James. Somerville backwards of square. Fernandez is on the edge of the penalty area. Lovely turn to get away from his man, then loops the ball towards Kante, who wins his initial header. In fact, it was one because he was illegally shoving his man to the ground, and that's James Justin. So free kick to Leeds United inside their own penalty area. Jean-Philippe Mateta has got one back for Crystal Palace. Palace 1, Arsenal 2. Manchester City have equalised against Aston Villa. So Manchester City 2, Aston Villa 2. So a glimmer of hope for Bournemouth there, who could do with another Manchester City goal and also a Liverpool goal to give them Champions League football. As things look, it'll be Bournemouth and Sunderland in the Europa League, and then Brighton in the Europa Conference League. And as we enter the final minute of the London Stadium, it would be West Ham down and Spurs will survive, unless there's a dramatic turnaround at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Still Tottenham 1, Everton 0. They're into the final 5 minutes of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. The only thing that would save West Ham now, a couple of Everton goals with no Tottenham reply. Leeds on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. They've slowed this attack right down. Nonto to Ampadu, difficult ball to control. In fact, that Manchester City goal doesn't count. Phil Foden was offside. So it remains Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 2. 15 seconds of normal time to play. Justin slides it down the line for Pirro to wander onto. Left wristband, socks high up his knees. Into the penalty area and wide. Mavropanos, for a moment, he deflected that into his own net. But fortunately for him, it was wide for a corner instead.
Yeah, it did from our angle, didn't it? But again, you know, he's done remarkably well, Mavropanos, since Diasassi's come to the club. It has reignited Mavropanos. He looks a completely different player, and he's come up with some really important goals as well. So I think coming to the end of this, it's a very big disappointing ending after, you know, the spells in games where they've really been able to put the foot on the gas, and now you're just coming to an end where it's fizzling out, even though with the good result.
Brendan Aronson's game is over as we enter 4 minutes of stoppage time at the London Stadium. Still 2-0 West Ham. Ball headed, very nearly in. Bowen was on the line. That was a decent corner and a good header as well. Sebastian Bornau was the man on for Brendan Aronson. That corner eventually dealt with by Jared Bowen. Darlow reloads for Leeds. Downfield in the inside left channel, and that was cleared by Kyle Walker-Peters. Crystal Palace 2, Arsenal 2 is their latest score from Selhurst Park. So Yeremy Pino has scored in stoppage time after Jean-Philippe Mateta had got one back for Palace. So Palace 2, Arsenal 2. The champions not ending with a win unless they get a goal in stoppage time there. Leeds are knocking the ball around inside the West Ham half. West Ham will be going down unless Everton score twice at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. No real urgency from Leeds United as Ampadu exchanges passes with Buonanotte. He turns, looks forward, finds no real option. Now, the gap that he thought was there wasn't. Cleared by Bowen, and out it goes for a Leeds United throw, left-back position.
The Leeds fans are enjoying themselves here in the corner.
Yeah, they are. Leeds have been in this situation a lot in the Premier League in recent years, facing relegation. That's a terrible back pass. Wilson's onto this, angle acute in the penalty area, delays and forces an excellent save from Darlow. It's a brilliant save with his left hand. It was a terrible back pass. Wilson on the right of the penalty area was isolated, had plenty of time, did the right thing in delaying, and his shot in the end was well saved, really well saved by Darlow.
Yeah, really good. He takes his time, he cuts back, and you just think, right, really well done, onto his left, and he's just lifted it as well. But Darlow, I think his right arm just puts it over the bar. You fully expected the ball to be in the back of the net from Wilson there. There was even Somerville, and I think Bowen was waiting for a pullback if it was going to come, but it was never going to come there for a centre forward.
No. It was a very good save. Resulting corner into the heart of the penalty area, headed over the top by a Leeds player. So this will be another West Ham United corner, and they are ending the game on the front foot. They are almost certainly now going to win the game, but they are behind us at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So Tottenham 1, Everton 0 is still the latest score at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and we wait with interest to see how much stoppage time there will be there, but it's looking increasingly likely that West Ham United will be relegated. Short corner, Wilson drives, Wilson scores. What a hit that is from Callum Wilson. That is what he does. He is such a prolific finisher. He slams into the corner. It's a third goal for West Ham. There's no doubt about it now. They will be winning this game, but it might all be in vain with the score at Tottenham not in their favour. West Ham 3, Leeds 0.
It's a really good finish. It's a short corner. Somerville plays it into him and he opens his body up. He runs onto it and he cuts across it. So it starts on the left and it just swerves into that far corner. Really good strike. And that's what he does. You know, that's what he does. He scores goals. He's always in the right areas. He's always, you know, got them opportunities to score. And, you know, you're looking at it and thinking, if he was able to play more games.
That is the full-time whistle. West Ham United have won the game, but it might all be in vain because it is still Tottenham 1, Everton 0. West Ham have done their bit. They've won this game. They've won it convincingly in the end, but now they will be glued to the radio, glued to their phones, hoping against all hope that Everton find a couple of goals to win the game. But for West Ham United, they have done their bit. Callum Wilson, 94th minute to make it 3-0. That after Jared Bowen had made it 2. The opening goal from Castellanos, a header from a corner. A goalless first half. West Ham much improved in the second. They needed to be, and they found the extra gear that they needed to find. The fans are singing "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." There's resilience there, there's hope there, but deep down they know that maybe their Premier League race is run as we wait for the full-time whistle at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Matt Jarvis, while they've done their job, they needed a favour. It looks like they're not going to get that favour.
Yeah, we went into this and started the commentary and they only had to focus on themselves. They had to get the job done, and that's what they've done. It 3-0. You know, there were spells in that game, especially in the first half, where Leeds were really on top, and it didn't look like this outcome was gonna be there. But now they've given it everything. You know, they've got their rewards, I suppose, from this season where they weren't good enough for the first 20 odd games, and now the West Ham fans are here. They're still here. They're sticking around. They're giving their appreciation for the players on the pitch at the moment. Probably waiting, like us, to hear that final whistle at Tottenham.
On the game in the second half in particular, it was much more like it from a West Ham perspective. They had to step up. They did step up. The header from Castellanos, Bowen then adding a second, and then the third from Wilson. Leeds were more dangerous in the first half, and maybe the exploits of a very good but a very difficult season beginning to show for Leeds United. But there will be plenty of games that West Ham look back on and think, well, there was our missed opportunity. But on today's game, they were good value for it in the second half because Leeds faded.
Yeah, that's exactly spot on. You know, first half was very edgy, very cautious. Both teams having opportunities, but Leeds probably edging it. And then second half, you look at the players, you know, Tati scoring, Callum Wilson scoring, Bowen scoring, Somerville instrumental with Juve on that left-hand side, and Fernandes, again, excellent in the middle of the park. And these are the players that are really going to, you know, West Ham are going to struggle to keep hold of. And that's going to make such a difference to next season. No one really knows what's going to happen. Is the manager going to be here? What players are going to be here? What does that mean for next season?
Yeah, we shall certainly see what happens for West Ham United. They are still playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so 5 live for the closing stages of Tottenham 1, Everton 0. If West Ham are to survive, they need a couple of Everton goals. It's finished at the London Stadium. West Ham United 3, Leeds United 0, and West Ham will wait to see what happens at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Here on 5 Sports Extra, we're swapping the sunshine of London for the sunshine of France with Emma Raducanu in action at Roland Garros, and we can join our tennis correspondent Russell Fuller.
Into the corner. And here, Emma Raducanu.
City have got a corner to ultimately have the last kick of the ball and the last chance of this game, but it is still Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 2.
And straight to Anfield, John Bennett.
Oh,
Brentford have missed a golden chance to get European football. Liverpool 1, Brentford 1, crossed in to the 6-yard box, and Kevin Schade headed it over. There goes the full-time whistle. It has finished 1-1. Brentford's European dream is over, not for the want of trying. They fought back after Curtis Jones opened the scoring. Schade equalised. They pushed for the winner. They couldn't get it, but for Liverpool, they booked Champions League qualification, and this was all about saying goodbye to Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson. They both had guards of honour as they left the field. Liverpool 1, Brentford 1.
Now, let me tell you, West Ham United's players are still out on the pitch at the moment. They are looking utterly bewildered. John Akers, clearly they've got somebody there on the touchline who's telling them what's happening at Spurs.
1-0 Spurs lead. 5 minutes of added time remaining. On final score, the only place you need to be. Everton have just had a chance. Keane from a free kick with a header over the crossbar. Just looped over Kinski's bar. We had an injury though, a head injury, as Pickford comes out of his goal and heads it away. Still scrapping for it, and Pickford claims it at the second time of asking and rolls it out. We had a head injury, which I reckon delayed the game by about 2.5 minutes. So we've got 9 added. That could look like 11.5 added. But Everton are pushing. Spurs working really hard without the ball, and Spurs fans standing all around me, nervous in the London sunshine. Spurs 1, Everton 0.
Oh, it's so tense. But have a look at these pictures. Arsenal's players loving it. Selma Gerrans.
The full squad are out on the pitch here at Sellers Park for Arsenal, the Premier League champions. They can finally celebrate on the pitch with their fans. It has ended here. Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 2. The goals coming from Gabriel Jesus and Noni Madueke either side of the break. Jean-Philippe Mateta pulled one back for Palace late on, and Yeremy Pino thought he had equalised, but that was ruled out for offside. So this is a moment for the Arsenal players to celebrate on the pitch before they get the Premier League trophy handed over to them, and then attention no doubt will turn, of course, to the Champions League final next weekend. So at full time here, it is Crystal Palace 1, Arsenal 2.
Oh, chance for Everton, John Akers.
Header over the crossbar. Oh, he was leaning back, and Roberto De Zerbi is sprinting down the touchline, waving his arms around. So another chance for Everton. 3 minutes of added time remaining. Spurs 1, Everton 0. Spurs a reminder, they only need a point. As it stands, West Ham will be relegated, but Everton are coming forward again with a man who's just had the header over the crossbar, Alcaraz. Free kick for Spurs. Relief. They have the ball. Spurs 1, Everton 0.
That is unbelievable. You probably heard the roar there. The roar was for the fact that Spurs have won a free kick, probably 10, 15 yards away from their 18-yard box. And Spurs fans have been incredible, you have to say, this afternoon. Congratulations to Sunderland in Europe for the first time since 1973, Mark Webber.
Sunderland 2, 10-man Chelsea 1. Sunderland's previous struggles were so obvious, they made a Netflix documentary out of it. On this day 12 months ago, they returned to the Premier League. Today, as you've said, they've reached Europe for the second time in their history, and Chelsea miss out on Europe. It had to be a win today for Sunderland, and they got it with the 2 goals. The second one, an own goal from Malo Gusto from Chelsea, and that sort of sums up Chelsea's season so far. All over the place. But a 23-year-old chairman, the youngest in English football, will lead his side to Europe next season. Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1.
Congratulations to Sunderland. What an achievement. A year ago today, they were at Wembley winning the playoff final against Sheffield United. A game, remember, where they were 1-0 down. So Ipswich Town, Hull City, Coventry City, there is hope for you next season. To the Etihad, Eli Baba.
Where it is finished here, and the players are all still standing out in the centre of the pitch. And if you thought Aston Villa winning here would dampen the spirits of the Manchester City fans, you would be wrong, because they have come here to say goodbye to their greatest ever manager, Pep Guardiola, who's standing right now in deep conversation with the one that he calls his favourite, Bernardo Silva, also leaving the club after 9 years, and John Stones, who has been here for the whole of Pep Guardiola's decade. He too says goodbye to the club, and as he came off the pitch, he sat in the technical area with the substitutes in floods of tears after he had played his last game for Manchester City. In terms of the game, Aston Villa spoiled the party a little, I suppose, with the result. A really impressive second half from them. City dominated the first half. Antoine Semenyo got the goal, but Ollie Watkins double in the second half. kept the celebrations for the Villa fans going after a week that saw them lift a European trophy. But now we prepare for the scenes and the celebrations for Manchester City, for the post-match farewell to Pep Guardiola, who's now walking towards the tunnel area with his Manchester City team. What a legacy he leaves at the club and in the Premier League. But it's finished at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Aston Villa 2.
What a manager, what a team. Teams, in fact, what an achievement. Pep Guardiola, congratulations to him. Right, John Akers, what a save!
What a save from Kinski as Everton put the ball into the box and Tarkowski heads over the crossbar. Might be the last chance for Everton. It was a brilliant save from the substitute, Tyreek George, who cut in on his right foot, hit a shot, looked destined for the corner. Kinski flung himself to his left and palmed it up behind for a corner, was then mobbed by his teammates. That might be a save which keeps Spurs in the Premier League and relegates West Ham United. They have a goal kick after that, header over the bar from Tarkowski for Everton with 30 seconds over the 9 added minutes. However, there will be more added time than this, I believe, because of an injury, a head injury, which lasted about 2.5 minutes. So we'll see. We're still going here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where Spurs only need a point. Spurs 1, Everton 0.
Roberto De Zerbi still urging the fans to get behind his team. Fair play to Everton, Jermaine. They've had a right go in the last 10-15 minutes or so.
Yeah, they have, and that's what's frustrating, because if they'd started the game the way they're finishing the game, it wouldn't be 1-0 Spurs. You know, Spurs, the crowd would be frustrated. They'll be getting on top of the players. The pressure, the expectations will be humongous. But they're just, again, we mentioned it before, they're wasteful in front of goal. And that's the story of the game so far.
I have to say, though, Jermaine, the intensity. Look at Spurs' running, Ellen.
Yeah.
The way they've played under Roberto De Zerbi has been unbelievable. The appetite to win a football match and to win your 50-50s and to attack with vigour and verve, you just did not see that all season.
You didn't see it all season. That has to be the basics. That is your normal now. And then you have to build from that. From minute one, Tottenham were all over Everton. You could see the intensity. Obviously, you'd run a good speech. They wanted to fight. And you could see what the fans did, obviously, with their arrival, with the smoke and their line in the streets. They felt that, the players, and they showed that.
There it is. It's all over. Tottenham Hotspur are in the Premier League. They survive, John Akers.
Tottenham Hotspur stay up and West Ham are relegated. Spurs' 48-year run in the top flight of English football continues. And after 14 consecutive seasons in the Premier League, West Ham are relegated to the Championship. Only their 3rd win of the season, Spurs, as De Zerbi and the players embrace. The whole of the Spurs bench has sprinted out onto the field, all the staff. Some of the Spurs players are just lying on the ground with their face in the turf. They have given absolutely everything here, whereas at times this season you could argue that they haven't. The Brazilian Paulinho is the hero. It was his header off the post, came back to his feet in the first half. He shoveled it towards goal.